Jagdish Vikram.
and Dr. Renu Nanda, the keynote speaker.
वो कहाँ है?
Byomakesh sir.
वो कहाँ है?
Sir.
Let me introduce some of our friends have joined. Dr. Subhash Jadhav.
Yeah.
Dr. Subhash Jadhav is the professor and head Department of Computer Science and Technology of the Central University of Jharkhand.
Yeah.
And who happens one of my beloved academic son and my student also. And apart from that, here is Dr. Prashant Nair, who is the chairman of the IQAC of the Amrita Vidyapeetham Vishwavidyalayam. He is also one of my most beloved academic son, because these young people that they are with me since a long time, and they are doing very well in their respective field. And we are having the Honorable Secretary of the Computer Society of India, Lucknow chapter.
Sir, we have
Vinay
connected
Kumar
with Sanjay sir also.
Namaskar.
Vinay Kumar Johri ji.
Good morning, sir.
Johri ji.
Good morning. Good morning.
And we are having another person, Dr. Pal, from the professor and head of Department of Computer Science and Engineering of the Durgapur Engineering College, perhaps. Pal, Dr. Pal?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Byomakesh sir is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Utkal University of Culture.
Okay,
And
sir.
perhaps the president of the function, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, has joined. Sanjay sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Sanjay sir. And here is the Byomakesh sir, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Utkal University of Culture, Dr. Byomakesh Tripathy. Tripathy sir, Dr. Sanjay sir is the Vice Chancellor of the MET University, Kolkata.
Yeah, I know, sir. Last time we met.
Oh, last time incident. Actually, Sanjay
Sir,
sir.
good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Dr.
morning, sir.
Sanjay
Good morning.
Kumar is one of the very popular face in the series of webinars that we have conducted, more than 700 webinars till today. And perhaps he has participated not less than 20 programs of us. He's so kind enough.
So
And
nice of him.
always contributing for the cause of the upliftment of the technological upgradation of the youth masses of the country. Then what is that? Is the Professor Ganesh Pandey joined?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pandey sir is also joined, sir.
Ganesh,
Yes, sir.
let me introduce to all of you. Everybody knows you, I think. Professor Ganesh Pandey is the Deputy Director of Indian Institute of Business Management, the host institution. And he is very much consistent in every webinar. I think all the audiences who have joined there, and you have been introduced with everybody. Just to show your face and make your camera on. And,
Sir, Ganesh Pandey sir's camera is already on, sir.
yes.
Okay, sir.
Tripathy sir and Sanjay sir, this time we are having the very wide participation of the participants from all over the country.
That's fine, sir.
Because it's a very pertinent topic, that is the new education policy 2020, and that too changing dimension to Indian education. So we are operating 3 mode. The distinguished guests who have participated from different parts of the country, we have given the Zoom connections. And to all the student community, we have given the YouTube and Facebook connections, which will be live simultaneously. And the students, if they want to put the question, they can put the question through the chat box provided in the YouTube.
So next, shall we start the session, sir?
Just I'm making a call to Renu.
Yes, sir.
I'm Renu. Renu ma'am, good morning. Professor Naik from this side. And when are you joining? If you could have joined now, then you could have the introduction with Honorable Vice Chancellor, Chief Guest, and other people that could have been introduced. You right now you can join, and after that, if you are having some work, you can also do your work. Your timing will be coming at 12. Just join, please. We are waiting for you. Let Rohit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Our guest of honor, Honorable Convener of the Shikshak Kalyan Foundation, Jagdish ji has already joined. Give a warm welcome to him.
Yes, sir.
He has joined with his sons.
Yes,
सर
sir.
नमस्कार सभी को नमस्कार सर बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद
And Honorable Vice Chancellor of the MET University, Dr. Sanjay Kumar is there, just was greeted. And also Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Byomakesh Tripathy, Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Utkal University of Culture is present. Tripathy sir and Sanjay sir, this Jagdish is doing very noble work. He is at present he is the convener and one I can tell founder of a very big great society, Shikshak Kalyan Foundation. What is the integrating the teachers from the primary school level to the university level. And another thing is that the beauty of the thing is that it is a membership body, and every year this body in association of the AICT is also felicitating and honoring the teachers for the great cause in the name of 2 awards, Dr. Abdul Kalam Memorial Awards as well as Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan Shikshak Samman Samaroh. And recently it has been conducted on the 22nd of the December of 2021, and which have been present by the presence of 2 Union Minister of State for Education and Union Minister of State for Law and Justice. Unfortunately, I could not present there due to the pandemic. Though I booked the ticket, but I cancelled. But they're doing the great work, and Jagdish is the guest of honor today with us, the convener of the founder and convener of the Shikshak Kalyan Sangathan.
Great knowing him.
Renu ma'am has joined. Hello.
No, sir. No, sir. Still not joined, sir.
Then we should start.
Yeah, sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
We should.
So, yeah.
Because already it is 10 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so once again, very warm good morning to all respected dignitaries present over here, the student community, and my dear friends. My name is Professor Rohit, and I am the host for your today's session. So I welcome you all on this today's one-day national webinar on National Education Policy 2020, a changing dimension to Indian education. Just to start with the session, I would like to call for the opening remarks Professor Dr. A.K. Nayak. But before we proceed, let me introduce Dr. Nayak. Professor Dr. A.K. Nayak is presently the advisor of Indian Institute of Business Management, Patna, a premium day school of 42 years old, is a former president of Computer Society of India and former director of Indian Institute of Business Management, Patna. He is having more than 36 years of experience in teaching, training, research, and administration in the field of computer science, information technology, management. The former president of ICT section of Indian Science Congress Association and former chairman of Indian Society for Technical Education, Bihar, Jharkhand section. Professor Nayak is also the fellow of Computer Society of India, International Society for Research and Development, UK United Writers Association, National Association of Computer Educators and Trainers, and Management Studies and Promotional Institute. Sorry for the connection loss. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So he has also authored 162 papers, 12 books, and edited 9 books, 20 proceedings of national and international conferences. He has also received many national and international awards, and his biography is already published in 7 international directories. So with all these words, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. A.K. Nayak for opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Rohit. Honorable Chief Guest of this today's August National Webinar on a very pertinent and vital theme, the National Education Policy 2020, Changing Dimension to Indian Education, Honorable Learned Vice Chancellor of the Utkal University of Culture, Bhubaneshwar, Dr. Byomakesh Tripathy, the President of this today's August National Webinar, the dynamic and vibrant Vice Chancellor of the MET University, Kolkata, Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji, the guest of honor of this today's morning webinar, the Honorable Convener and founder of the Shikshak Kalyan Sangathan, with headquarters is situated at NCR Ghaziabad, Sri Jagdish Biji, the keynote speaker of the National Webinar, Renu Nandaji, the Professor, Head and Dean of the Education, University of Jammu, and the invited speaker, both the invited speakers and my most beloved academic sons in the and very vibrant and dynamic young personality who is heading the different aspects in the 2 prominent universities, Dr. Subhash Chandra Jadhav, the professor and head of Central University of Jharkhand, Ranchi, as well as Dr. Prashant Nair, the professor and chairman of the Internal Quality Assurance Committee of the Amrita Vidyapeetham University, other dignified guests who have been present here that I see, our vibrant and dynamic secretary of the Computer Society of India, Lucknow chapter, Dr. Vinay Kumar Johri ji, and other personalities who had been joined today, Pramod Pal ji, and the participants and dignified professors, associate professor and assistant professor and industry professionals from different parts of the country, and dearest and nearest student participants who have joined in the YouTube and the Facebook Live. And a very warm welcome to all of you to this August National Webinar on a very vital and pertinent theme of the today's contest, the National Education Policy 2020, Changing Dimension to Indian Education. First of all, I express my hearty gratitude and sense of appreciation and billions and millions of thanks for the gracious presence of our Honorable Chief Guest, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Utkal University of Culture, that is at Bhubaneshwar, Dr. Byomakesh Tripathy, who is an authority and who is an educationist of the international stature, having the long experience, more than 3 decades of the experience in teaching, research and development. Apart from that, an able educational administrator, served as the academic head, dean, director, and director of the distance education, and almost all academic administration responsibility he has discharged. And we are very much honored that the Institute is having the pleasure to have him as the chief guest on this auspicious occasion, the Indian Institute of Business Management, as well as the Shikshak Kalyan Foundation. And on behalf of both the bodies, I once again extend my warm welcome, as well as I express our gratitude and sense of thanks for the gracious presence of this great personality, Dr. Byomakesh Tripathy. He is not only an able educational administrator, apart from that a researcher and having the publication of the hundreds of the papers, as well as the author 15 number of books, and so many more, that his biography will be read by Dr. Mr. Rohit. And at the same time, I also extend my hearty welcome and our billions and millions of gratitude for the gracious presence of a very dynamic and vibrant personality, having the mixed mode experience in the serving as a very prominent scientist in the DRDO, Defense DRDO, and as well as Department of Defense, Government of India, as well as a bull academician, and having a very qualified person who has completed his master degree in engineering, having 3 degrees in the management, as well as PhD in management, PhD in engineering, and awarded 2 President Award, awarded by Honorable Pranab Mukherjee, the former President of India, as well as Ramnath Kovindji. And such a great personality, having the great number of years of experience in Defense Research and Development Organization, as well as the former Vice Chancellor of the Symbiosis University of Applied Sciences, at present the Vice Chancellor of the MIT University, Calcutta. And sir, on behalf of both the organization, Indian Institute of Business Management, as well as Shikshak Kalyan Foundation, I express our sincere gratitude for your gracious presence on this event and for presiding over the function. In the same time, I'm also welcoming as the part of the organizing committee, as well as the organizer himself also, Sri Jagdish Bidji, the great visionary and the convener and founder of the Shikshak Kalyan Foundation on this auspicious occasion. And a formal thanks and gratitude should not be given to him because he is also the part of the organizer. But again, welcome to you on this auspicious occasion. I'm equally thankful to the keynote speaker, Renu Nandaji, the professor, head and dean of the Department of Education at University of Jammu, as well as the prominently invited speaker, Dr. Subhash Jadhav, the Professor and Head, Department of Computer Science and Technology, Central University of Jharkhand, as well as Dr. Prashant Nair, the Professor and the Chairman of the IQAC of Amrita Vidyapitham University, for their continuous support, and they are working with me in my great endeavor for organizing more than 700 number of webinars in the country, and with a mission and vision. At least by this small contribution, we are being able to provide the latest of knowledge as well as the upgrading and updating the lakhs of the million of the youth masses who are in the field of technology education as well as in the field of computer science as well as management education. And you can be happy to note that all these webinars so far as we have conducted, more than 700 webinars, seminars, and conferences, and seminars and workshops in virtual mode, teachers training program, faculty development program, and short-term development training program. And all the programs do not involve any cost. All are very complementary programs, and all the things are being provided to the society without any cost and financial involvement. And I am fortunate enough on my request, and it is perhaps the grace of God, more than hundreds number of honorable Vice Chancellor has agreed on different times to address in these webinars in the form of the chief guest or the presiding over the webinars or the guest of honor or the keynote speaker. I express my sincere gratitude from my core of the heart, those great personalities who have helped me in this endeavor. Apart from that, more than 300 domestic speakers and experts, all are the rank of the professors in computer science, management, and other allied fields, who have helped me in this endeavor, along with more than 50 number of international speakers, including the non-resident Indians. And I, on this auspicious occasion, I express my sincere gratitude and thanks to all of them. And today is the 47th webinar that is being conducted by Indian Institute of Business Management during the pandemic period. And this institute have been blessed by the address of more than 35 and 36 number of Vice Chancellors till today are the webinars conducted by this institute. And today we are having a very important topic, and a topic of the contemporary and topic of the national importance, the new education policy 2020 and the changing dimension to the Indian education. My dear friends, just let me brief and introduce the topic within 5 minutes. So, new education policy that everybody knows, that Kasturi Rangan committee has tabled this draft on in the year 2019, and which have been ultimately approved by the cabinet of the government of India in the July 2020 and got recognized as the National Education Policy 2020. Prior to that, imagine in the year 1986, we are having the National Policy on Education when Honorable the later Narsinga Raoji has been the Minister of HRD, and the Honorable the late Rajiv Gandhi had been the Prime Minister. At that time, prior to that, the Ministry of Education have been changed to the Ministry of HRD, and again, it is going to be changed from HRD to education under the new education policy. And my dear friends, you can be very happy to note that under this new education policy, lot of thoughts and philosophies have been integrated, because which could not have been happened in the last national policy on education 30 years back, because at that time not so much technological upgradation have been done. And imagine during these 34 years, 1986 to 2020, lot of technological upgradation has been made. We have passed from education 2.0 to education 3.0, where we have utilized the use of the ICT services in the education, and we have entered to the ODL, open and distance learning system. But in this pandemic period, everybody has realized we have entered in the education 4.0. We became able and capable to impart the education in the complete online mode, where we have utilized make the best utilization of the latest softwares as well as the hardwares that is available and as the part of the integration of the information and communication technology, and what to the integration of the internet, multimedia, and the computer. These three technologies have given a tremendous shape for imparting the education in the virtual mode, and which have been integrated in the new education policy 2020, and the philosophy have been kept that 40% of the delivery will be made in the online mode, so that the education 4.0 will be more streamlined, and accordingly the infrastructure is also getting set up. And a lot of things, when the philosophy has been done, a lot of things have been kept in the mind, because the country is going to be converted to the digital economy country due to the digital transformation. Again, in education 4.0 at the doorstep, as well as industry 4.0, we are going to implement. We must have to prepare the manpower in the country which can cope with this industrial revolution, that industry 4.0, where the machine will be the smart machine and the industry will be the smart industry, and all this communication will happen. By the meantime, a lot of technologies have come and immediately that have been integrated in the national education policy, and we are talking of the technological implementation in the national education policy to impart the education as the part of the augmented learning system, where not only the emerging technologies that is also available in the field of the hardwares, but also the computing technologies, the softwares like big data, like machine learning, like virtual reality, like smart computing, like IoT. All these things will be also came into implementation to the NEP 2020 platform. And what to that, the things have been kept in the NEP for 2020. The encouragement by the government of India will be given to the setting of the virtual laboratories, virtual universities, and a virtual mode will be happen. And if the student will remember the teachers, and the teachers will be in the front of the student and will interact as interaction was made like Ravan and Shiva, Lord Shiva in the year Treta, as well as the communication was made in the year Dwapar. Will be again returning from the age of the physics to the metaphysics. And the thing is that another important feature in the new education policy, that the education have been made internationalized. That means we will be imparting the education as per the international pattern. Accordingly, the degree program have been extended from 3 years to 4 years, so that the students who will be coming out from our education system, they do not need to take the bridge course again to enter in the master degree program in USA and UK. And the education system will be multidisciplinary. Even an engineering student may not need the background of mathematics and physics, and all these things will happen as it has been decided by the All India Council for Technical Education. The education will be vocationalized from the class 6th standard, so that when the student will be passing out, every student will be having some skill and some vocational skill in their mind and heart and their hand. So all these reforms are being done. And the most important thing, another philosophy that has been kept, the research and innovation will be tremendously motivated in the new education policy that we have already experienced in the pandemic period. When the country entered to the pandemic, we did not have anything, even if we did not have in the simple kits to take the challenge. But by the research and innovation, by our Indian scientists and medical experts, we became able and capable not only to cater our requirement, but we became a surplus country. And we have just remembering the great stanza of the great lines that Swami Vivekananda has told, that is the necessity is the mother of invention, and every covered is uncovered when it is discovered. प्रत्येक आच्छादित तब उन्मेलित हो जाता है जब इसको हम आविष्कार कर लेते हैं. And हमने ये सब करके दिखाए in the research and in the tune of the research and innovation. And that will be given much importance in the national education policy, And accordingly, the education institution will be divided into three categories. That is, one is the research universities, another is the research cum academic universities, another category will be the autonomous degree colleges for granting the degrees and all these things. And the research will be shaped viewing the potentiality of the country, that will be agriculture based, water resources based, because the another revolution we are going to face in the near future, apart from the in that agricultural revolution, industrial revolution, green revolution, and white revolution, IT revolution, BT revolution, and we are looking forward to the blue revolution. That is, the revolution will be made to extract the resources from the so far as its ocean boundaries are concerned. So viewing all these things and the thing that has been happened, and another important thing that has been taken, the 2 crores of the dropout from the schools, how they can be again returned to the school education, and a target has been made in the National Education Policy 2020 that by 2030 our gross enrollment ratio, so far as the basic education is concerned, so far as the middle school education, secondary education is concerned, will be made 100% by 2030. And that will simply satisfy the great stanza of Bhagavad Gita, Aham nijo paraveti swabhav lagute sang udara chetasang cha vasudhaiva kutumbakam. That means we will be being able to bring under this implementation of this new education policy to bring all the students, all the childs of the country to provide to get the educational facilities, and there will be no discrimination whether he is from a deprived area or from a very advanced area, and the education institution will be also available at the remotest place of the country. Apart from that, this online education board will be given more importance, and so that we can be able to reach at the remotest part to impart the literacy program and to make everyone is illiterate. That is another aspect that has been kept. And the special educational zone will be created, like special economic zone for setting up the industries, and the deprived districts which have been having the lack of the very quality higher education, the Quality Higher Education Institute, multidisciplinary higher education institute will be also set up. And that is another feature that has been, India is having 732 districts, and all the 732 districts will be getting the trained and classic educational institution that has been kept as the part of the national education policy. And these are the most of the features of the national education policy, on which our honorable guests as well as the honorable speakers will be deliberating upon in the next 2 hours. But by the meantime, I want to just giving the brief introduction, it is just the brief introduction of the topic, and I do feel by the implementation of this new education policy, so definitely the country will be getting much benefited and will be having the quality, able to and impart the quality education, and definitely the bottlenecks that has been happening in the present system, these inspections, all these things, bottlenecks and all these things will be abolished, and all the things will be done in online mode. So definitely the time will come, we'll be having an integrated portal which will be working, so that any institution will be applying at any place of the remotest place, that will be easily verified by the central agency, and there will be no multiple regulatory authorities like AICT, like Nursing Council, like Medical Council, like Pharmaceutical Council, like UGC, and all will be coming under a single regulatory body, and as well as the that will be also bridging the gap of the private institution education and the government institution education. Standard policy will be formed, and all these things will be this. With this, once again, welcoming all the honorable guests and participants who are presenting on this auspicious occasion, I extend my hearty gratitude and welcome to each of you, and take and participate very effectively on this deliberation and ask questions at the end of this session. And let us try to transform this new education policy into the, take the new education policy to the ground level, and so that the country should be in a position, and every student, and it should be able to integrate as well as to connect each of the child and each of the aspirant of the education, and that is should provide the inclusive education to each and everybody, and they should also satisfy the philosophy of the education for all, which will एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत एवं आत्मनिर्भर भारत. These words, let bring the education for the good of the humankind and human beings. That sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pasyantu ma kashchit. Thank you very much. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much, AK Naik sir, for this wonderful informative session, sir. So thank you, sir. So now we will proceed further, and it's a time for the address of the chief guest, and our today's chief guest is Professor Byomakesh Tripathy, sir. So let me introduce Professor Byomakesh Tripathy. Professor Byomakesh Tripathy is presently the Vice Chancellor of Utkal University of Culture. He worked as a professor in history in Arunachal Central University and Indira Gandhi National Tribal University. He is having more than 30 years of experience in teaching, administrative experience as head of department and dean of faculties, director academics, dean of students welfare, director distance education, caution, etc. He has also published 18 books on Buddhism, religion, history of Arunachal Pradesh, museum, marital tradition, cultural heritages, and many more. He has also published 95 research articles and guided 15 students for PhD. So with all these words, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Byomakesh Tripathy, sir, for Chief Guest address.
Very good morning to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Indeed, it is a pleasure to always talk to Professor AK Naik.
Oh, sir,
Whenever I talk to him, I always feel the positive energy. That's the most important thing in life. And I'm extremely happy to be a part of this webinar today on a very, very pertinent topic, new education policy. Before I go to new education policy, I am very much thankful to the host institution, esteemed Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji, Professor Renu Nanda, and other colleagues and my student friends and all those friends who are part of this webinar today. Let me tell you one thing, that talking about the new education policy, as Professor Naik just told us, it is a vast panorama. But before going to that, I must tell you that from 2014, when this new NDA government came to power, from 2014, when new NDA government came to power, then we saw that Honorable Prime Minister was coming up with new ideas like Make in India, Skill India, Startup India, and now of course Atmanirbhar India. And this is particularly the base of this new education policy. This is number one. That indicates that this new education policy wants to take India as self-reliant India. This is most important thing, number one. And for this self-reliant India, we have to be an education from school, reforms from school to higher education. This is number one. Number two, if we can see numbers, secondly, we can see the background, that this new education policy wants to have a sustainable development goals. And these sustainable development goals is to see that India should be a superpower throughout the world. India should be a superpower throughout the world. Number three, as Professor Naik was discussing, now blue economic, so much economy, education as economic booster. That means we want a knowledge economy, focus on knowledge economy. Either you call it on stress on vocational education, or support through funding through incubation center, or economic through entrepreneurship. We call it education as economic booster. The fourth most important point we'll see, internationalization of higher education. We have never thought of earlier. The fifth is most important is digitalized pedagogy and classroom. Now Professor Naik was telling about it. Digitalized pedagogy and classroom. This is the fifth one. And then a layered accreditation system. Next one is a layered accreditation system. And last but not the least is equipping teachers or faculty with latest technology and education methodology. These are some of these basic objectives. These are some of the basic objectives of new education policy. Having said that, one thing we should bear in mind that this policy is different from the policy, national education policy of earlier in so many things. And why this policy has come out with a vivid idea how to develop education in India. Number one, we have a great tradition of knowledge in India. We have a great tradition of indigenous knowledge in India. As we understand that throughout the historical period, of course, up to the British period also, we were recognized throughout the world because of our knowledge system. And that knowledge system was based on our culture, indigenous culture, tradition, science, technology, so on and so forth. So this new education policy wants to bring that element to the education policy of India. Secondly, India is a vast, diverse country. And we have to understand that we have a large mass of population who are very, very poor, very, very backward, not only in economic sphere, but also in the educational sphere. And how to see that these populations should come forward so that equity and inclusiveness should be there. So this is also an idea of this new education policy. One more thing we'll see that India being a very, very diverse country, it has diverse languages, diverse culture, diverse tradition. As you can understand, any child given an opportunity to be taught in his own languages, he or she can prosper better. And that is the idea. This new education policy have come with the idea, not only the school education, but also the higher education should be taught in their own language. And this is one of the greatest contribution. If you ask me, this is one of the best things to be done, that the students should be provided in their own education, whether it is in medicine or engineering or higher education or agriculture, should be in their own languages. This is one of the most important component. One more thing, as Professor Naik told us, that we are in 21st century. Now the world is developing in science and technology. Today we want virtual university. As you know, last 2.5 years, we are having everything in online. So this is the best time to see how education could be a part of this virtual education. This NEP provides us the foundation for a virtual education in India in 21st century and the coming century. And again, we'll see that, as I told you, India has a huge population. Now we have more than 130 crores, and we have a huge youth persons in India. Now, of course,
Professor Tripathy, sorry to interrupt for a moment. If you can put your video on. I think since long, your video is not on, and we are not in a position to see you.
Okay.
Thanks. Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, sir. Thank you. No problem.
I requested the organizer, so he was
No
little
problem, no
hesitant. Then I said, no, I'll ask him
No
and
problem, sir.
request him.
Sir, thank you.
Great. No,
Thank
great. Thank you. Please continue.
So what I want to convey that this policy for the first time in the history of education in India has provided a clear-cut roadmap how to develop education as per the standards of 21st century. Of course, I'm not going to discuss so many things, but 10 to 15 points I would like to discuss. One most important point is gross educational enrollment ratio. Of course, the government have calculated up to 2035, it should be 50% of the students. That's fine. Secondly, we have to introduce more online and distance program. One more very important thing government wants, this new education policy wants, that we have to see that the affiliated colleges, of course, I mean, most of the universities, you see, there are more than 100, 200, 300, even there are 1,000 affiliated colleges to some universities. That creates a lot of problem. How to provide graded autonomy to them? Then, of course, this policy emphasis on holistic and multi-dimensional education. Then, one academic bank of credit. This is most important. Unless we have academic bank of credit, we cannot think about the people shifting from one place to another. So this is most important. And of course, the vocational of education up to, it has been calculated that up to 2025, students who are in the school or colleges, 50% students should have vocational of education. And then we should have a culture of research. Of course, it is not that culture of research is not there, but through National Research Foundation and through establishment of research universities, the government wants to push up the culture of research. So these are some of the most important point about this new education policy. But one thing we must understand, that what is the need of higher education? What I believe, higher education should be for two things. Number one, it should provide happiness. Number second, it should enhance our knowledge. These are the two most important things. But at the same time, we need higher education of such type where we have the social equity. And then there should be the bridging of gap between haves and so-called have-nots. So this education, I believe, it is in the right direction, that it will see that knowledge should be accrued. There should be knowledge development. And there should be this education will see that we have a social equity as well as the bridging of the gap as far as economic condition is concerned. Having said that, we are in 21st century and India wants to go ahead in science, technology, culture, languages. It is very satisfied to note that the new education policy has provided impetus to our Indian culture, Indian languages. You see that it has come up with ideas to develop the institutions for those are clearly for our classical languages like Sanskrit, Pali, or Prakrit. These literatures has a lot of data, lot of knowledge system which was prevalent in India. And this should be cultivated. This should be researched. One more thing, then Indian Institute of Translation Studies This is most important because we have a lot of literature in science, in technology, in philosophy, in logic, in art, in dance, but these are not translated. It is time to see that our knowledge system, indigenous knowledge system, or those knowledge systems which are in regional languages, that should be published, that should be translated into various languages of the world, not only in English, but also various languages of the world. So people can know us, what type of knowledge system we had. So this is one of the very important contributions of this new education policy. More than that, now as Professor Naik was telling us, it is time that students who are opting for science and technology or medicine or engineering, he or she can opt for a courses from soft power, like philosophy or dance or music or translation or archaeology or museology. These are called, quote unquote, soft power of India. And here emphasis should be given to soft power of India. Because this soft power, because of this soft power, because of the indigenous science and technology, in last 2000 years, we were very powerful. We are known throughout the world. So that power has to be cultivated. In one hand, we want the development of science and technology. In the other hand, we want the development of soft power, like our philosophy, religion, culture, dance, music, sculpture, etc., etc. And this is the beauty of Indian culture. And this is the beauty of Indian culture. And I think the new education policy very, very rightly focused on both this development of both the things, science and technology, as well as our soft power. One more thing we have seen, that we want more and more multidisciplinary institution. And this is a right idea in a right direction. Because for an example, we have Sanskrit University, or we have a culture university. We see, by giving this idea that it is Sanskrit University, we don't want to make it connect with the society. This Sanskrit University should not be only taught, it should not teach only Sanskrit or philosophy or logic. Rather, it should teach science also. It should be management also. That's why now the government of India, through this new education policy, has given this idea that we should have more and more multidisciplinary institutions. Then, of course, what we believe, that education is the main economy of India. So providing enough fund to the education sector is a must. Not less than 6% of GDP, it should be given to education. We always discuss how the education sector in small countries in Southeast Asia or in Europe, they have gone ahead of us. Then we have to think that what type of autonomy we are given, what type of financial autonomy we are given, what type of funds are given by the government, what type of funds we are getting from the society. Here the time has come that through this education policy, we have to see how more and more funds can be provided to the educational institution. And one more thing, as we understand that teachers plays a very pivotal role in the development of education. And the teacher should have a very scientific thinking. As you understand, in most of these so-called universities today which have gone ahead, we have seen they have great ideas, great teachers who have a very liberal and scientific thinking. And that liberal and scientific thinkings provide a fillip to the universities. So the time has come that new education policy has provided a number of recommendations. But what we want to see, that what type of autonomy we are going to have in future, number one. Number two, what type of funds we are getting from the government. Number three, what type of help from the society. The society should come forward. what type of help from the society we are getting for the institution, and what type of courses we are preparing, what type of courses we are offering. The NEP tells us that different type of courses should be there, but whether the course should be marketable, whether these courses are for the life skills, that has to be seen. And I sincerely understand that if these things are taken care, definitely India can go ahead in the field of education, in the field of economy in 21st century. Of course, there are a number of experts. These are some of my thinkings about new education policy. It is only a draft today. Most important thing, how to introduce this new education policy. And this new education policy has to be introduced in a phase-wise manner. And in this manner, the state government and the central government should come in hand to hand so that this new education policy should be introduced. Of course, as you understand, if we begin a new thing, new ideas, some obstacles will come. That will definitely come. That is bound to come. But at the same time, if we have a clear idea in the mind, then I hope that within 4 to 5 years, maybe within 2025, most of these institutions in India, of course, within 3 to 4, 5 years, most of the institutions in India will have to see that this new education policy should be implemented in right spirit, right manner, so that I believe India will be a superpower, not only in knowledge economy, but also in various spheres of art, culture, science, and technology. With this few words, I once again thank you very much for your patient hearing. I must congratulate Professor A.K. Nayak and his colleagues for having a webinar on a very, very pertinent topic. I always believe that education, knowledge system is the most important thing in life. And today we have a number of intellectuals like Professor Sanjay Kumar and Professor Nanda, and many other colleagues who are going to deliver their ideas on new education policy. I thank you, all of you, from my core of heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Byomakesh Tripathy, sir. It was an extended and excellent inaugural session, sir. Thank you so much, sir. From depth of our heart, we will congratulate you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So now we will proceed further, and it's a time for the address of the president, that is the presidential address. And our today's president of the session is Professor Dr. Sanjay Kumar, sir. Professor Dr. Sanjay Kumar is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of MIT University, Kolkata. Professor Dr. Sanjay Kumar is an engineer graduate from BITS Ranchi University. He is MTech and PhD both from IIT Delhi in engineering. He has distinction of having done his second PhD in management. He has authored 7 books and published many research papers in national and international journals. He worked as principal advisor and project director in DARE Avionics Research Center, DRDO, Bangalore, and researcher in SSC ISRO, Ahmedabad. He has been vice chancellor of 3 universities, including Symbiosis University, Indore. He is recipient of many accolades and awards for his outstanding contribution in academics, received 2 commendation medals and Chief of Air Staff. Also, he has been conferred Bharat Vidya Ceremony Award, Lifetime Achievement Award by ex-governor of Tamil Nadu, Dr. Bhishma Narayan Singh. Last but not the least, for his outstanding contribution in research and selfless service to the nation, he has been conferred Bihar Gaurav Samman by Governor of Bihar, the present president, and the most prestigious presidential award, Visist Seva Medal on Republic Day 2016 by former President Sri Pranab Mukherjee. So with all these words, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Sanjay Kumar, sir, for presidential address.
Thank you very much. Professor Rohit, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir, clearly.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for your very generous introduction. Always it has been a privilege for me to be part of the Professor Naik's team. Today's chief guest, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Utkal University of Culture, Professor Byomakesh Tripathy ji, Professor Naik ji, Mr. Jagdish ji, and all other my learned colleagues, and most importantly, very, very vibrant students, faculty, and all the participants. My heartfelt greetings for organizing such kind of rich webinars, symposiums online on a very, very contemporary subject like national education policy, changing its dimension. So dimensional changes, I would like to, pinpoint, and most of the points, very, very brilliant points, which have been really brought by Professor Tripathy. I'll not repeat them exactly, but definitely I will be laying some kind of an emphasis on certain points which are really going to be very helpful for all the faculty as well as the participants and research scholars. I'm reminded of one of the very, very pertinent quotes as an educator, as a researcher, as a nitigya. Chanakya once he said, मैं शिक्षक हूं, यदि मेरी शिक्षा में सामर्थ्य है तो अपना पोषण करने वाले सम्राटों का निर्माण मैं स्वयं कर लूं। एक बार फिर मैं इस लाइन को दोहराना चाहूंगा अपने पार्टिसिपेंट्स के लिए, मैं शिक्षक हूं। इसका मतलब ये है कि आई एम द टीचर, आई एम द मोस्ट रिस्पॉन्सिबल इंडिविजुअल ऑफ द सोसाइटी। यदि मेरी शिक्षा में सामर्थ्य है तो अपना पोषण करने वाले सम्राटों का निर्माण मैं स्वयं कर लूं। Now if you can look at this, the depth and the gravity of the line said by चाणक्य, शिक्षा में वो सामर्थ्य होना चाहिए जो अपने स्टूडेंट्स को सम्राट के रूप में देखे। यही सबसे बड़ी जो है खासियत होनी चाहिए शिक्षा। और मैं समझ रहा हूं कि नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी इस दिशा में एक बहुत ही कारगर कदम है, और हम सभी शिक्षाविदों को इन तमाम चीजों को लेकर के साथ में चलना हो। इसीलिए किसी ने कहा है कि जरूरी नहीं रोशनी चिरागों से ही हो, शिक्षा से भी घर रोशन होते हैं। यदि हर घर को रोशन करना है तो आपको शिक्षा की नींव डालनी पड़ेगी। और इसीलिए इसका द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट फॉर दिस, rather I will say the 4 pillars of the new education policy, the changing dimension is the equality, जिसको हम समानता कहते हैं, inclusivity, समावेशिता, हर आदमी का समावेश हो, हर आदमी के लिए इक्वल फुटिंग हो, accessibility, in हिंदी we call it as an अभिगम्यता यानी पहुंच, और the next one is affordability, आप वैसी शिक्षा दें जो अफोर्डेबल हो, और the last point is accountability, जवाबदेही। ये 5 पिलर्स जो हैं नई शिक्षा पद्धति के स्तंभ हैं, और इन स्तंभों को हम लोगों को बहुत अच्छी तरीके से समझना की आवश्यकता है। जो इसके 7 salient features, I think most of the points has been covered by Dr. Tripathy. The self-reliant India, Make in India, Skill India, Startup India, Digital India, and lastly, Atmanirbhar India. This is the soul of the new education policy. आत्मनिर्भरता की तरफ जब तक ये देश नहीं चलेगा, तब तक शायद भारत जो है वो देश नहीं बन सकेगा जो विश्व गुरु के रूप में इसको देखने के लिए जरूरत है। तो इसलिए ये जो बुलंद नारा है अपने ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर का, आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनाओ, और इसके लिए जरूरत ये है कि टुडे वी हैव गॉट टू बिल्ड, शेप and given a character, value as well as the professionalism. Rather, we have got to bolster and foster such kind of qualities, attributes and characteristics in our youth force. Promote entrepreneurship over the jobs. We have got to teach all the students not to become only the job seekers. They have got to become the job providers. and to become the job providers, they have got to be really self-reliant. It means नौकरी किसी और की नहीं करनी है, नौकरी यदि करनी होगी तो नौकरी कर दूसरों को दे। ये सबसे बड़ा उत्तम रास्ता हम लोगों को चुनना है, और इसके लिए स्टार्टअप इंडिया की जो पहल है वो अपने आप में एक जबरदस्त पहल है। स्किल इंडिया जब तक नहीं होगा, जब तक एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप और स्टार्टअप्स हम डेवलप नहीं कर पाएंगे, कोई भी एजुकेशन की पॉलिसी कहीं भी हो सक्सेसफुल नहीं होगी। The current COVID-19 crisis has proved the validity and necessity of such self-reliant society. It also aimed in redirecting an unemployed youth to find employment through a self-sustained skill-based model. In the university, if you don't teach the skill-based model, it will be very, very difficult. As Professor Tripathy also brought out, the gross enrollment ratio has been the ratio of great concern. Today, if you look at this for the higher education, 26.3% is the only gross enrollment ratio. Now, the biggest aim and the biggest challenge for all of us is there that it has got to be increased from 26.3% to 50% by 2035. Now you can look at this. And if I take you to the school education and the primary, secondary education, it has got to be increased from 50% to the 100%. It means there is no chance of having any kind of dropouts. There is no scope for this. So this new education policy definitely has given a great vision in crafting and drafting this. But the biggest challenge for we vice chancellors, we deans, we professors, we head of the institutions is how to implement it. The next point is the sustainable development goals. Higher education institution in community engagement is a very, very challenging thing. Only spending time in just within the four walls of the universities, it is not sufficient. How well our researchers, how well our students, how well our faculty are going to get involved in the community development. Whatever the research we carry out, I am the core researcher in various fields. We have got to now look at this, that the research outcomes have got to be so much pointed that society should get immensely benefited by this. It is not that only writing the शोध पत्र और शोध की किताबें लिख करके केवल पुस्तकीय ज्ञान बांटने से नहीं हो सकता है। शिक्षा की वो लौ हमें प्रज्वलित करनी है जिसके अंदर में वो सामर्थ्य हो जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट ही नहीं जनरेट कर सके। ये ऐसी समाज के अंदर में एक ऐसी लहर जाए कि हिंदुस्तान ही एक ऐसा कंट्री है जो पूरे विश्व के तमाम देशों को समावेश कर सकता है। इसीलिए आज जैसे डॉक्टर त्रिपाठी साहब ने बताया, internationalization of the education, the first time it has been introduced in the national education policy. हिंदुस्तान की तमाम सरकारें आई और फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट्स के ऊपर में बहुत सारी पॉलिसीज बने, लेकिन एजुकेशन के ऊपर में फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट की बात नहीं कही गई थी। Now today the national education policy is promoting about this, and it is not that bringing the other campuses in our country. It is all that how our universities can achieve that global standards. Our all brilliant students who are going to get admitted in the university like Stanford, California, all Oxford, you name a university outside. What about this country? The Oxford can be made in India. We have got over 1,000 universities today. We can look at this, that every university should be of that kind of a caliber and a standard, which should match being that Stanford. Is it not possible? It is possible. Then for that we have got to become the self-reliant. And for self-reliance, we have got to really work very hard and meticulously to see to this, that this policy is implemented in letter and spirit. Education has got to be considered as an economy booster. एजुकेशन जो है आपको इकोनॉमी में सबसे बड़ा मददगार साबित होगा। ये केवल सिर्फ इंडस्ट्री नहीं है, गुड्स का प्रोडक्शन और सर्विसेज की बात से केवल नहीं बन सकता है। इसलिए यदि इकोनॉमी बूस्टर के रूप में यदि एजुकेशन सन को देखा जाएगा, that will be the greatest thing over here. We have got to create a pool of talented and skilled youth who aspire to build the nation and boost national economy, imbibing technology solutions and digitally empowered HEIs. GDP, 6% of the GDP to be invested for achieving these goals. I think this is the biggest figure the national education policy has recommended. I am sure the way the government is now, bent upon building this country, definitely 6% will be given on and spent on the education. It will change the face of this education sector. Digitalized pedagogy and classrooms, I think he talked about, Professor Tripathi talked about this. The layer accreditation system, I am in fully agreement with this. Hundreds of the affiliated colleges are going to lower the standards of the universities. If you are really make the education of a very high standard, then we have got to make every college accountable. They have got to be the consequence, and they must have the graded autonomy. The system of having various regulatory agencies are not. I think Professor Nayak also brought out lot many points onto this. The most important point, in my opinion, is looking at this, that how the major reforms can be brought here. Now, the major reforms, what is this policy has suggested about this? Merit-based scholarship. I think at all levels, this merit-based scholarships have been instituted. The female students will be targeted in particular, giving all sorts of these scholarships so that many female enrollments are going to be there. Recruitment of teachers will be done through a robust process. Here I would like to draw your kind attention that the practice of the para teachers, you'll go in any kind of a state universities and central universities and even all other universities also. Many a times we find that unqualified teachers, contractual teachers, these teachers, they are called as para teachers. They are the para teachers, and they have got to be stopped across the country by 2022. This is the mandate of the national education policy. Very, very important part of this. Also, we can see to this, the grudges in the university, we find it from the professors, from the teachers, that they are all going to be employed for the government duty, election duty, some other kind of duties. Whatever it comes to this, the teachers are the most spareable thing. If we spare the teachers from the university campuses, how the quality will be maintained, how the education imparting philosophy will be justified? Absolutely no to this. I am also dead against of employing the teachers for other purpose other than the research and teaching. The main business for all of us is, as an educator, that we have got to really fully utilize and optimally utilize the experiences of our professors and teachers. They are all talented people. My teachers, our professors are very, very highly experienced and talented, but they have got to be effectively utilized. Many a times they are saying this, that they are having a lack of funds. Definitely Professor Tripathi also brought up. I will also be talking about the National Research Foundation. If the time permits, I'll just 3-4 minutes I'll spend on this. Special education zones, we have got to really look at this. Liberal education, there's no hard separation in this kind of reforms. It was talked earlier also. Philanthropic partnership, we have got to have it. There's nothing like in a private, public, all universities have got to be really get going through all very, very strong bonding and collaborations. Industry collaborations is very, very important point. Credit transfer, academic bank of the credits, etc., etc. It has been talked by both the speakers previously. So I will not touch upon this, but definitely I am going to talk little more about this National Research Foundation. National Research Foundation is one foundation which is going to be really boosting the research power. This will be the research power boosters, because enough of the fund will be given to the National Research Foundation, and in turn they are going to plan and the craft in a policy for the university, the colleges, and all kind of graded this thing, that enough of the research funds are given to the people around and the colleges and the universities. Next important point here, I am looking at this, that the use of the technology is very, very important. Many of us during this COVID period, we are using the technology, but we have got to really look at this, that in true sense, I'm an engineering student. Today, if you look at this and if you ask me as an Vice Chancellor, what you are doing for the practical and the sessional work of the students for the engineering and the science, probably we cannot give an 100% right answers. The reason being is the practical is one thing that where you have got to really do by your own hands. These are all hands-on training. But for that, the only solution today for the universities is this, that we have got to create the virtual labs. In our universities also we have created, the government has also created, the AICT portal has given the virtual labs. If you go to this, then IITs also, many IITs, they have developed these virtual labs through the virtual labs. But of course, nothing can beat your hands-on training, the actual putting your hands. As a researcher, unless we ourselves do some kind of a research work in the laboratory by breaking all kind of an equipment, burning our equipment, understanding the all sorts of the calibrations, all kind of parameters reading, you definitely through the virtual you may not get a feel, but yes, you'll be definitely getting a feel of this. The virtual labs, I'll suggest my all students and research scholars, please use these virtual labs and e-yantra. These are the portals of the government. Then next aspect is the National Education Technology Forum has been really created on this thing. There are major concerns onto this, that as I told you, that GER reaching from 26% to the 50%, again 50% to 100% for the school education, bringing back 2 crore out of school children. Now, if you look at this, the dropouts, the biggest challenge we have. Then the assessment pattern has been the greatest philosophy. The changing dimension here is, it is no more now all rote learning. We are not going to do this rote learning business. There will be a continuous assessment systems onto the education. There are a lot many good news for the students as well as faculty. As I told you, that there will be no business for the para teachers. There will be a genuine teachers who will be employed in this thing, a lot of scholarship and a lot of awards and rewards will be given onto this thing. This is very, very important aspects of this. Basically, the current major issues faced by the higher education institution that I would like to highlight: the fragmented higher education ecosystem today and inadequate infrastructure. This needs to be really looked into this, and it must be addressed onto this. Ineffective regulatory systems and the poor mechanism of the career progression for the students. Very, very important point. The career progression. We have got to now only look at this, that as long as the student is going to be in the campus of the university, that is all. No, after that, what it is? The career, it means that is not the career only in education, career in life. The lifelong, we have got to now look at this, how a student gets fully nurtured. Poor research quality and the lack of the funding, as I told you earlier. Poor research quality, we all are responsible for this. We are only looking at this, publishing some kind of research papers. And I have got a lot of ankara today. I will not place it because the time is less, but I can tell you this, that we are lagging quite a lot. Except few of the IITs and Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, we don't figure out in the QS World ranking anywhere. And that is the major concern for this. Then what is the upay iske liye kya hai? We have got to get pivoted to this augmenting the innovation, incubation and the startup. That's the only way we can look at this. And our mandates as the vice chancellors, as the head of departments, as the deans, and as in the research heads, we have got to really have this, the campus to corporate, mind to market, and incubation to the industry. This is very important. We open the incubation center, but unless the people, all these incubators whom we are, nurturing, they are placed in the industries, they are not going to be of any use. Very, very important aspect. And how we are going to do this? The first measure I would like to suggest it as per my experience is intellectual stimulation. We have got to really trigger the brains of the people around. Inspirational motivation. We have got to inspire by leading ourselves. Unless we are the good researchers, we can't, force others to do that. And the next point is the individualized consideration. It is not that we are going to treat each and every student at par. Many students will be brilliant, but at the same time, all the students may not be. Although Dr. Kalam has been my guru personally also, I have worked along with him when he was the advisor to the government of the India and the Minister of Science and Technology. That was the time I was working the DRDO as an squadron leader. And when I presented him one of the presentation, he said that, okay, most of the best brains are found at the last benches. Now look at this, how grave this statement and serious statement it is there. The last benches, it means that most of the time you'll find that the last benches students are not given that kind of importance. And he said the brilliant brains are many a times found at the last benches. So we have got to look at this. That is how I said that individualized consideration. क्लास के हर बच्चे को ये नहीं है कि भेड़ की बकरी की तरह जो है आप जो है hundreds of the students का क्लास ऑनलाइन लीजिए और individualized consideration नहीं दीजिए. शिक्षा नीति इस तरह से इम्प्लीमेंटेशन यदि हम करेंगे सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो. अजीम प्रेम जी ने एक बार बताया कि if people are not laughing at your goals are too small. So I'll suggest here my all researchers as well as the students that you must have the goal in your life and the right kind of a goal. And the right kind of a goal will be the SMART goal. SMART means S stands for specific, M stands for the measurable, A stands for the attainable, R stands for the realistic, and last T stands for the trackable. So we have got to set the SMART goal. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have got to develop the incubation centers in true sense with the help of the MSME. There are a lot of funding agencies. I will not talk much on to this, but there are a lot of advantages of this thing. In my universities, we have got dozens of the Ramanujan and Ramalinga fellowship, where the government is, giving them a salary and they are carrying out huge number of researches and etc. All the engineering and the science laboratories have got to be converted into the test centers. For the test centers, like I'll give you one example. Civil engineering, we can always have the soil testing, concrete testing, beam structure testing, etc. etc. And same thing can go for the arts, science, culture, tradition, whatever this thing. Even the sculpture, the fashion design, any subject. There is no hard separation today. Music, dance, drama, etc. Every little thing is possible in this thing. Assistance given by MSME is phenomenal. One has got to really look at this. Financial assistance up to 1 crore for procurement of the plants and the machinery for business incubation center. Once your incubation center is recognized by the MSME, you will be getting this. And for any kind of a brilliant idea and implementable idea, if you start nurturing to this, 15 lakh assistance is given. And the 3 lakhs rupees is being given to the mentor of the student. So, my dear teachers, I would like to emphasize upon to this. Please insist in our university to go for this affiliation with this MSME. So your basically incubation center should get affiliated and rather approved by the MSME. You'll be getting a lot of things. Some of the points which will also I would like to highlight, it will be very, very useful for all the startup people, because I'm running many startups and personally also mentoring them. So once your startup is well registered with the government, then there's a lot of tax exemption. I don't know how many of you have read this about this. 3-year tax holiday in a block of the 7 years. Whatever your income that comes for the next 3 years, it will be all having free, no taxation. The startup incorporated between April 1st, 2016 till 31st March 2021 were eligible for this scheme. Budget 2021 has now extended the eligibility to 31st March 2022. Now, if you look at this, the government policy is so liberal for this. The startups, they must come up. There are lot many schemes are there. Exemption from the tax on the long-term capital gains. There is no time, otherwise I can explain to this, but anytime you can approach to me, I can convey all sorts of the the clues to you all. Well, accelerating the research, innovations and startups are going to be really the nerve center for us, and all educators, all professors, my learned colleagues, and my co-speakers, they are going to talk quite a lot about this. Now, virtually, I'm coming to an end of this with this only one my line. It is basically from the Niti Shlokas. Nirpatvam cha vidvatvam cha naivatulyam kadachana. Swadeshe pujyate raja vidwan sarvatra puj. विद्या की ये लॉ जो जगनी है वो इसलिए क्योंकि स्वदेश में जो है राजा पूजा जाता है, विद्वान की पूजा जो है पूरे विश्व में सर्वत्र, इसका मतलब सर्वव्यापी है। एजुकेटर के रूप में हम लोगों को इसकी मान्यता देनी पड़ेगी। सोसाइटी आज समझने लगी है कि टीचर्स का क्या महत्व है। रिसर्च जो है एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट है इस नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी का, एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट है। इसको हमें बढ़ावा देने की आज आवश्यकता है। रिसर्च इज द फॉर्मलाइज्ड क्यूरियोसिटी, इट इज पोकिंग एंड प्राइंग विद अ पर्पस। नाउ आई विल request all my learned colleagues, learned professors, and the brilliant students who are listening to me that from today on, let's try to see to this. It is poking and prying with a purpose. It is playing, it is toying with the ideas. You toy with the ideas, there will be the ideas will be coming. One small little idea will generate the bigger ideas. Well, friends, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Once again, my heartfelt gratitude towards Professor Nayak ji, who has been really instrumental and brilliantly organizing more than, I think, 700 seminars. Many a times he has given me this opportunity. Also, it was a great hearing and listening to Professor Tripathy, who has been very, very scholarly, given a very insightful talk on this particular subject. I'm sure this webinar is going to be of great use to all of you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you all. Thanks. God bless. Stay safe. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for your insight and for your very thoughtful provocation and very good things, and lot of things you have already guided to the researcher as well as the startup aspect. That is the main thing. And anybody who want to be connected with Sanjay sir, and I can help them to be getting connected, there is no problem. Actually, excellently marvelous and wonderful Vice Chancellor. Both the Vice Chancellor have talked so nice, Tripathy sir and you. And I can just compliment, ना हर रात को चांद नसीब होता है, ना हर रात को चांद नसीब होता है, ना हर इंसान को मंजिल प्राप्त होता है, ना हर इंसान को मंजिल प्राप्त होता है, ना हर वेबिनार में त्रिपाठी सर आपका जैसे महान भव का आगमन होता है, ना उपस्थित होता है। आपने आज जो दोनों महानुभाव ने जो इंसाइट एंड प्रोवोकेटिंग एंड थॉटफुल प्रेजेंटेशन यहाँ दिए, दैट इज वेरी नाइस, एंड आई डू फील that definitely every participants must have got much benefits out of this, and it has enhanced the effectivity, productivity, and the reliability of this webinar in a great extent. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Tripathy sir, if you are connected, as well as thank you very much, Sanjay sir, for your gracious presence of both of you, one in the form of the chief guest, one in the form of the president of the function. I am really grateful. And I do believe your continuous cooperation will be always there, so that I can be able to carry my efforts in future and endeavor to complete in the pandemic period to cross more than 1,000 number of webinars. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mohit.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, sir. Now we will proceed towards our next session, and it's a time for the guest of honors address. And our today's guest of honor is Mr. Vig sir. So Mr. Jagdish Vig is the national convener of Shikshak Kalyan Foundation. Mr. Vig is working presently as a vice principal in Kendriya Vidyalaya Services, where about 34 years teaching experience in KVS, having realized so many problems of teachers community. Shikshak Kalyan Foundation is working for welcome of teachers community across the country for their all-round development, and honoring them twice a year in association with AICTE and other organizations across the country. About 5,000 teachers so far has been honored, awarded, and certificates of merit. So with all these words, I would like to welcome Mr. Jagdish Vig sir for guest of honors address.
जी जी नमस्कार सर। रोहित जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका।
नमस्कार।
सबसे पहले मैं नायक साहब को धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा कि उन्होंने मुझे कहीं से ढूंढ निकाला और मुझे अपने साथ उन्होंने जोड़ा, तो इसके लिए वे बड़े आभारी हैं।
सो नाइस ऑफ यू, सो नाइस।
एक शिक्षक को महत्व दिया उन्होंने, वो भी सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन के शिक्षक को। मोस्ट ऑनरेबल व्योमकेश त्रिपाठी साहब आज के मुख्य अतिथि, आज की अध्यक्षता कर रहे प्रोफेसर संजय कुमार जी, बहुत अच्छे विचार अभी मुझे सुनने को मिले। यहाँ पर उपस्थित प्रोफेसर रेणु नंदा जी, प्रोफेसर SC यादव जी, प्रोफेसर प्रशांत नायर साहब और प्रोफेसर गणेश पंडित जी, और यहाँ सभी विद्वान जो भी हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, हमारे टीचर्स, स्टूडेंट्स, सभी का मैं हार्दिक अभिनंदन करता हूँ। यहाँ पर नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के डिफरेंट डायमेंशंस को लेकर जो है आज चर्चा का विषय रखा हुआ है। तो जैसा कि मैं शिक्षक कल्याण फाउंडेशन का प्रतिनिधित्व करता हूँ सर, तो जाहिर सी बात है कि नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में और चेंजिंग डायमेंशंस में मैं कुछ बातें जो हैं वो शिक्षकों को लेकर ही करूँगा, ऐसा मेरा प्रयास रहेगा। बहुत सारे चीजें मुझे अभी जानने को मिली हैं। बहुत अच्छे विचार मुख्य अतिथि महोदय ने, त्रिपाठी साहब ने, संजय कुमार साहब ने, नायक साहब ने रखे, लेकिन मैं कुछ अपने स्वाभाविक से विचार जो है इस मंच पर रखना चाहूंगा सर। अभी हाल ही में जैसा कि नायक साहब ने बताया कि 22 दिसंबर को हमने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्लब ऑफ इंडिया में भी एक बड़ा प्रोग्राम रखा था अखिल भारतीय स्तर पर, जहां 2 केंद्रीय मंत्री आए थे और हमने अपनी अवार्ड सेरेमनी के माध्यम से शिक्षकों के प्रतिनिधित्व की बात, शिक्षकों की समस्याओं की बात भी बड़ी बेबाकी से रखी। कुछ बिंदु मैं यहाँ पर भी जो है न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी चेंजिंग डायमेंशंस के बारे में अपने विचार यहाँ रखने का मुझे मौका दिया है, तो मैं चाहूंगा कि आप उन्हें समर्थन देंगे और उन्हें सुनेंगे। सर, सबसे पहले जो कॉन्सेप्ट ECCE का लाया गया है, अर्ली चाइल्ड केयर एजुकेशन का, जिसमें ड्रॉप आउट स्टूडेंट्स की बात कही गई, जिसमें जहां तक मेरे संज्ञान की बात है सर, उसमें करोड़ों बच्चा ऐसा है देश का जो कि अभी तक जो है वो हमारी भूमि पर एग्जिस्ट तो कर रहा सर, लेकिन वो बिलोंग नहीं कर पाया। बहुत सारे एक्ट आए सर, राइट टू एजुकेशन की बातें आई, इस पॉलिसी में भी जो है राइट टू एजुकेशन की बात कही गई है। 2035 को टारगेट किया गया है सर। हम इस पॉलिसी का समर्थन करते हैं, निश्चित रूप से सरकार पॉलिसी लाई है, सरकार बधाई की पात्र है। मैं यहाँ ये भी कहना चाहूंगा सर कि ये सरकार पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी की आइडियोलॉजी पर चल रही है। पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी की आइडियोलॉजी कहती है सर कि एकात्म मानववाद और अंत्योदय की बात पर यह सरकार चल रही है। मैं इस मंच के माध्यम से भी, और वहां भी मैंने 22 दिसंबर को यह बात उठाई थी, यहाँ पर भी मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि जहां पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी ने एकात्म मानववाद की बात कही है, जहां उन्होंने अंत्योदय की बात कही है कि गरीबी की छोर में खड़ा अंतिम जो व्यक्ति है उसको कैसे लाया जाए, जब मैंने ये देखा कि ये महसूस किया मैंने कि ये जो करोड़ों बच्चे हैं सर, ये 2% CSR पर जो है 2013 में ये बात लाई गई थी कि 2% CSR पर जो है अकाउंटेबिलिटी फिक्स की गई। सर, मैं महसूस करता हूं कि इस 2% CSR से बात नहीं बनेगी। ये पॉलिसी यदि इस बात को कहती है कि हम आज बच्चे को नर्सरी से उठाएंगे, ये जो ड्रॉप आउट बच्चे हैं जो अभी शिक्षा में आ ही नहीं रहे हैं सर, मैंने वहां पर भी इस बात को कहा था 22 दिसंबर को, और यहां पर भी कहना चाहता हूं कि सर, इस सरकार से मुझे उम्मीद है, मुझे इस बात पर फोकस करना है कि एकात्म मानववाद जो पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी का कहता है, वो ये कहता है सर कि जितने भी हमारे साधन हैं वो सबके लिए यूज होने चाहिए सर, उन पर सभी को मौका मिलना चाहिए। लेकिन दुर्भाग्य इस बात का है सर कि वो मौका नहीं मिल पा रहा। मैंने वहां पर पार्लियामेंट के अंदर एक ऐसे बिल लाने की बात कही है सर, और मैं यहां पर भी कहना चाहता हूं कि हम 2035 में तो कई बच्चों को गंवा चुके हैं, कई बच्चे हमारे मर चुके होंगे सर, पार्लियामेंट के अंदर एक ऐसा बिल आना चाहिए सर जिस पर कि अकाउंटेबिलिटी फिक्स होनी चाहिए। अभी मैं संजय कुमार साहब को सुन रहा था, उन्होंने इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन इक्वलिटी की बात कही, उन्होंने अफोर्डेबिलिटी की बात कही, उन्होंने लास्ट में अकाउंटेबिलिटी की बात कही। आज अकाउंटेबिलिटी 2% CSR से जो है सुनिश्चित नहीं होगी सर। आज अकाउंटेबिलिटी जो है उन लोगों पर फिक्स करनी पड़ेगी सर जो एजुकेशनल डोमेन से करोड़ों अरबों रुपए निकाल चुके हैं सर, चाहे वो कारण कुछ भी रहे हों, लेकिन वो बेनिफिशियरी रहे हैं। उन्होंने जो भी पॉलिसीज रही हैं सर, बेनिफिशियरीज ने उन पॉलिसियों का फायदा उठाया सर। यदि नुकसान हुआ है तो वो गरीब बच्चों को हुआ है, गरीब शिक्षकों को हुआ है, और इस एजुकेशन डोमेन्स के जो एक्चुअल स्टेक होल्डर्स जो थे, टीचर्स, स्टूडेंट्स और पेरेंट्स, उनको इसका लाभ नहीं मिला साहब। दूसरे लोग इसका बेनिफिट उठाते चले। मैं एक ऐसे पार्लियामेंट बिल की जो है यहाँ पर क्या नाम मैं आह्वान करना चाहता हूँ सर कि इस 2% CSR पर कब तक मुताज रहेंगे हमारे गरीब बच्चे? कैसे ECC का, कैसे ड्रॉप आउट का सपना पूरा होगा? तो एक ऐसा बिल आना चाहिए सर दीनदयाल जी की फिलॉसफी पर, एकात्म मानववाद, जो कहता है कि हर एक की भागीदारी तय होनी चाहिए, हर एक को जो है क्या नाम है संसाधनों का यूज होना चाहिए, किस प्रकार से ऑप्टिमल यूज हो हमारे संसाधनों का, और वो जो बेनिफिशियरीज हैं उनकी अकाउंटेबिलिटी फेस होनी चाहिए सर। इंटीग्रल ह्यूमनिज्म के हिसाब से, इंटीग्रल अप्रोच के हिसाब से जो है इन बच्चों के लिए सोचना पड़ेगा। यदि हम एक तरफ डिजिटलाइज की बात कर रहे हैं, यदि हमें डिजिटलाइजेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, टीचर एजुकेशन 4.0 की बात कर रहे हैं, मशीन लर्निंग, डेटा, रोबोट, दिस दैट, आई अप्रिशिएट ऑल दीज थिंग्स, लेकिन हम इन बच्चों को नकार नहीं सकते। दूसरी बात सर मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा कि लगभग 20-22 सालों के अंदर यदि आप नेशनल काउंसिल ऑफ टीचर एजुकेशन की बात करें, मैं अब आपको ला रहा हूं बीएड प्रोलिफरेशन पर। इतना बीएड प्रोलिफरेशन हुआ साहब, इतने कॉलेज खुले, इतने लाखों टीचर्स हमने भारत में निर्माण करे, लेकिन उनके ऊपर जो है फिर एक परीक्षा लेकर आ गए CTET की, फिर स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ले आई UP टेट की। वो एक ऐसा एग्जाम है जो क्लर्क लोग भी देते हैं, बैंक के क्लर्क भी देते हैं, और कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम के लोग भी देते हैं सर। यदि ये एग्जाम से टीचरों की पात्रता को जांचा जाएगा सर, तो बीएड कॉलेजों की क्या प्रासंगिकता है? और इस एग्जाम को जो कराने वाली बॉडीज हैं सर, सेंट्रल बोर्ड ऑफ सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन, सेंट्रल बोर्ड ऑफ सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन और नेशनल काउंसिल ऑफ टीचर एजुकेशन, दोनों जो हैं अलग अलग चीजें सर। ये एक प्रश्न खड़ा होता है कि टीचर्स एलिजिबिलिटी जो है वो उसकी प्रासंगिकता बीएड में होगी या CTET पर होगी? यदि एक चीज कराई जा रही है तो दूसरी क्यों? ये कहा गया कि गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस में हम उन्हीं को लेंगे जो CTET पास करेंगे। मैं समझ सकता हूं, लेकिन गवर्नमेंट कितने जॉब दे रही है साहब, ये भी सोचना पड़ेगा। नई शिक्षा नीति में मेरा ये निवेदन है सरकार से, मेरा ये निवेदन है इंस्टीट्यूशन से कि यदि वे शिक्षकों को कॉन्टेक्चुअल्स एडहॉक बेसिस पर, पैरा टीचर्स के बेसिस पर ही चलाते रहेंगे सर, तो नई शिक्षा नीति कैसे प्रभावशाली होगी? यदि बिना टीचर एम्पावरमेंट के हम नई शिक्षा नीति को चलाते रहे सर, तो ये कैसे प्रभावशाली होगी? मेरी चिंता इस बात में। आत्मनिर्भर भारत की बात उठी है सर, मैं निवेदन करना चाहूंगा इंडस्ट्री को, मैं निवेदन करना चाहूंगा कॉर्पोरेट को, मैं निवेदन करना चाहूंगा इंस्टीट्यूशंस को, उनको मिलकर साथ आना पड़ेगा सर। और इसके अंदर जब तक अकाउंटेबिलिटी फिक्स नहीं होगी, जब तक प्रभावशाली तरीके से इंटीग्रल अप्रोच के साथ, एकात्म मानववाद की अप्रोच के साथ इन एजेंसियों को, इन डिपार्टमेंट्स को, इन मिनिस्ट्रीज को, जब तक इन पर अकाउंटेबिलिटी किसी रूल रेगुलेशन के साथ फिक्स नहीं करी जाएगी साहब, तब तक नई शिक्षा नीति के उद्देश्यों की प्राप्ति एक सपना न बनकर रह जाए। मेरी इस बात में चिंता है सर। पिछले दिनों जब 2020 के अंदर मैंने अनिल सहस्बुद्धे साहब चेयरमैन AICT से निवेदन किया, मैं AICT में गया, मैंने कहा साहब शिक्षकों को निकाला जा रहा है, इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजों के शिक्षकों को जो है कोविड में निकाला जा रहा है, ये कैसा मजाक है शिक्षकों के साथ? तो उन्होंने इसे मेरी बात को सुना, वो जो कर सकते थे जी। तो मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं सर कि शिक्षकों को बड़ा गंभीरता से लेने की जरूरत है। आज कोविड की सिचुएशन ने 2 सालों में ये सिद्ध कर दिखाया है कि केवल इंस्टीट्यूशन दीवारों से नहीं चलेंगे, केवल नई नई बिल्डिंगों से नहीं चलेंगे। इंस्टीट्यूशंस को चलाया तो शिक्षकों ने चलाया, इंस्टीट्यूशंस को चलाया तो एजुकेटर्स ने चलाया। तो ये समझना होगा, उनकी इंपॉर्टेंस को समझना होगा सर। ये समझना होगा कि इन एजुकेटर्स को, इन शिक्षकों को एम्पावर्ड करने की जरूरत है। जब तक आप इन शिक्षकों को एम्पावर्ड नहीं करेंगे तब तक आत्मनिर्भर भारत और राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति के सपने को सर हम प्राप्त नहीं कर सकते। दूसरी बात सर, इंपॉर्टेंट बात जो है वो रेगुलेटरी बॉडी की, यूजीसी की बात हो, चाहे एआईसीटी की बात हो सर, चाहे वो अब नेशनल हायर, मैं पढ़ रहा था उसमें नेशनल हायर एजुकेशन रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी की बात आ रही है, चाहे और दूसरी बॉडी है, लेकिन कोई ऐसी इंडिपेंडेंट जो रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी है साहब, जैसे रियल एस्टेट में रेरा आई, जैसे इंश्योरेंस में आईडीआर आई सर, जैसे टेलीकॉम में ट्राई आई, ऐसी एजुकेशनल अथॉरिटी सर ऐसी भी आनी चाहिए जो ये सुनिश्चित करे कि शिक्षकों के अधिकारों को, बच्चों के अधिकारों को बचाया जा सके। ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है, इसकी गंभीरता को समझना सर बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। मेरी चिंता इस बात में है सर कि जो बाजार के लोग हैं वो नीतियों का फायदा उठाते आए हैं सर। भारत के 75 वर्ष आजादी के होने जा रहे हैं सर, लेकिन नीतियों का फायदा उठाया बाजार के लोगों। मैं आपको ले चलता हूं सर आईआईटी के कोचिंग संस्थानों की तरफ, मेडिकल के कोचिंग संस्थानों की तरफ। मैंने ये बात 22 दिसंबर को भी डॉक्टर सुभाष सरकार साहब के सामने उठाई। मैं इस बात को उठाता रहता हूं और यहां पर भी उठाना चाहूंगा सर। असेसमेंट पॉलिसी, आज यदि आप एवरेज बच्चे की बात करें, आज एक एवरेज बच्चा जो है, जो पहाड़ का रहने वाला है, जो ट्राइबल है, जो गरीब है, जो किसान का बच्चा है सर, उसके लिए आईआईटी के जो मापदंड हैं, जो उसके लिए हमने ऐसी पॉलिसी, ऐसे जो असेसमेंट्स हमने जो हैं उसको बनाए हैं कि आज वो तो करोड़ों अरबों रुपए एजुकेशन डोमेन से ये आईआईटी के प्राइवेट संस्थान निकाल कर ले जा रहे हैं सर। जो नई पॉलिसी में 5+3+3 4 का जो पैमाना आया सर, क्या वो बच्चे जो इंटेलिजेंट बच्चे हैं सर, क्या वो बच्चे 5+3+3+4 से जो है नहीं शुरू से ग्रेडेड तरीके से चुने जा सकते? आज यदि मैं एक प्रिविलेज क्लास, जो बात यहाँ पर अभी त्रिपाठी साहब कर रहे थे, नायक साहब कर रहे थे, डिप्राइव्ड क्लास और एडवांस क्लास की बात। आज साहब जब सीबीएसई का बच्चा 12वीं क्लास में होता है तो वो कहता है मेरे को सीबीएसई की मेरिट से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, मैं आईआईटी के कोचिंग संस्थान में जाके पढ़ूंगा, वहां का कंपटीशन पास करूंगा, मेरी चाहे सीबीएसई के अंदर 60% आ जाए। सर मुझे ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि ये बाजार के लोग, रेगुलेट जो हमारे जो इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं जिन्होंने ये पॉलिसियां असेसमेंट की बनाई हैं, वो ये चला रहे हैं या कौन लोग चला रहे हैं, कौन लोग इनके पीछे हैं सर, कौन लोग इनको जो है महत्व दे रहे हैं और ये बाजार से अरबों रुपया निकाल कर जा रहे हैं साहब। जो शिक्षकों को जो बेनिफिट मिलने चाहिए इस एजुकेशन डोमेन के सर, वो वंचित हो रहे हैं। आज मेरी चिंता इस बात पर, मैं इस मंच से निवेदन करना चाहूंगा सर, आप लोग उस लेवल के लोग हैं सर, आप लोगों के हाथ में जो है प्रतिनिधित्व होना चाहिए। मैं अब बात कर रहा हूं सर इंडियन एजुकेशन सर्विस की। नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में जब मैंने इस चर्चा में बात करता हूं सर, मोस्ट ऑफ स्टेट गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशंस, इवन इन सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन, इन माय डिपार्टमेंट सर, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स 3 साल के लिए आते हैं साहब, वो पेरेंटल डिपार्टमेंट से आते हैं। एजुकेशनल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स हेड ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशन बन ही नहीं पाते सर। यदि नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूल में एक प्रोफेसर हेड ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशन बन सकता है सर, यदि एनसीईआरटी के अंदर एक प्रोफेसर हेड ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशन बन सकता है। मैंने चेयरमैन एआईसीटी साहब को भी ये बात बोली कि यूजीसी के अंदर, एआईसीटी के अंदर जिस प्रकार से हेड ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हमारे जो हैं यूनिवर्सिटियों के वाइस चांसलर प्रोफेसर बन सकते हैं, तो स्कूलिंग में भी सर हमारे एजुकेशनल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स, हेड ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशंस होने चाहिए। ब्यूरोक्रेसी आती है साहब 3 साल के लिए, उनकी प्रायोरिटीज कुछ और होती हैं, वहां पर टीचर्स का रिप्रेजेंटेशन भी नहीं होता। जब मैं 2020 के अंदर अनिल स्वरूप जी को लेकर आया, जो फॉर्मर सेक्रेटरी थे सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन के, जब मैंने उनसे वेबिनार पर ये पूछा कि सर नई शिक्षा नीति में शिक्षकों का क्या महत्व, तो उन्होंने माना कि जब ये मेरे पास फाइल आई तो मैंने ये सवाल किया कि इसमें शिक्षकों का तो प्रतिनिधित्व नहीं है। तो सर मैं शिक्षकों के प्रतिनिधित्व की जो है हर लेवल पर मांग करता हूँ। मैं राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा आयोग को पढ़ रहा था, राष्ट्रीय शिक्षक आयोग में मुझे कहीं पर देखने को ऐसा नहीं मिल रहा था कि वहां पर यूनिवर्सिटी के वाइस चांसलर होंगे, वहां पर शिक्षकों के प्रतिनिधित्व होंगे। वहां पर यदि बात कही गई है तो वो ब्यूरोक्रेट्स की बात कही गई है, प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी की बात कही गई है, या कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर्स की बात कही गई है। सर मैं ये निवेदन करना चाहता हूं इन मंच से कि शिक्षकों को अच्छे तरीके से, गंभीर तरीके से लिया जाना चाहिए, उनकी प्रमोशन पॉलिसी अच्छी होनी चाहिए। उनको पीएसयू के जो इंजीनियर्स होते हैं, जो आईएएस का जिस प्रकार से प्रमोशन होता है सर हर 3 साल में, उनको उस तरीके से प्रमोट करते हुए उनको नॉट ओनली हेड ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशन बल्कि वो लोग जो हैं सेक्रेटरी ऑफ द मिनिस्ट्रीज, इवन आई डिमांड एक एजुकेशन का आदमी भी मंत्री होना चाहिए सर। यदि इस देश का प्रधानमंत्री कोई एजुकेशनिस्ट बनेगा उस दिन ये नई शिक्षा नीति सर सही मायनों में जो है साकार होगी। ऐसा निवेदन करते हुए मैं इस मंच से निवेदन करता हूं कि नई शिक्षा नीति को शिक्षक सशक्तिकरण पर, उनके आर्थिक सशक्तिकरण पर, उनके स्वास्थ्य के लिए, उनके जो पर्क्स हैं, उनकी फिजियोलॉजिकल नीड्स हैं, उस पर सर महत्व देते हुए इस शिक्षा नीति को आगे बढ़ाया जाएगा। तभी हम आत्मनिर्भर भारत की बात को सही से जान पाएंगे। और सभी को आगे आना होगा साहब, इंडस्ट्री को, कॉर्पोरेट को, जो यहाँ पर बात कही गई है सोसाइटी की, सोसाइटी को भी आना होगा शिक्षकों के सम्मान में, विद्यार्थियों के सम्मान में। जो बेनिफिशरीज हैं उन पर किस प्रकार से लगाम लग सके, किस प्रकार से जो है इकोनॉमिकल बेनिफिट्स जो हैं वो एजुकेशनल डोमेन के एक्चुअल स्टेक होल्डर हैं उनकी तरफ जाए, इस पर चिंता करने की आवश्यकता है। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ सर बहुत से बिंदुओं को मैंने सुना है और बहुत से बिंदुओं को मैं सुनूंगा, एसेस करूंगा, मिलता रहूंगा। और मैं निवेदन करता हूं सर कि शिक्षक कल्याण फाउंडेशन में जिस प्रकार से नायक साहब ने मुझे ढूंढा, आप भी आए सर हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पर। मैं यहाँ पर उपस्थित जितने भी विद्वान साथी हैं उनसे निवेदन करूंगा कि हम फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम चला रहे हैं, हम स्टूडेंट डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम चला रहे हैं, उनमें आप अपनी सहभागिता दीजिए, हमारी फाउंडेशन में रहिए सर, वहां आप स्वयं भी लाभ उठाएं। हम आपको भी आने वाले प्रोग्राम में सम्मानित करना चाहेंगे और हम चाहेंगे कि साहब और लोगों को भी आप लाभान्वित करें और एक शिक्षकों के पक्ष में इस देश के अंदर एक आवाज उठे, उनका प्रतिनिधित्व तय हो। बिना प्रतिनिधित्व के बात नहीं बनेगी, उनका प्रतिनिधित्व, उनको राइट प्लेस मिलना ही चाहिए। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। थैंक यू सो मच नायक साहब, नमस्कार।
थैंक यू वेरी मच जगदीश जी। अरे आपने जो पॉइंट रखे, जो पहलू रखे, दिस वेरी एक्सीलेंट एक्चुअली। व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग, व्हेन वी आर डिबेटिंग ऑन समथिंग, the both side of the things should be also come into the platform. आपने what you told that the teacher empowerment, शिक्षक सशक्तिकरण, नया शिक्षा नीति को सही दिशा में लेने के लिए, the real implementation करने के लिए, it is most important that it can be treated as a pillar. And I was just listening this yesterday. I just requested him how much time I should allot for your speech. He told me that 3 minutes to 5 minutes. I told him 5 minutes. But today you told so nicely and basic problem and basic constraints. The constraint what you told given, that is the thing. Of course, in my introductory, I have also told in India there is the thing when we are talking of that what you are told. How these things can be reached at the remotest place. The India is a country having 660,000 plus villages, and unless we can cater the services, unless we can take the benefits of the new Shiksha Niti or this new education policy to the remotest part, to the childs of those 660,000 villages, and that cannot be fulfilled or the dreams cannot be translated into the action. Both vital, lot of vital things you have pointed out, that definitely the learned personality, those who have gathered here in this August webinar, must have having the very good feeling with them, and they must have realized the things and what are the core things and basic things you have pointed. Just by making the policy or formulating the policy cannot solve everything, but to see the minute aspects of that policy, how that policy can be really translated into the action, how the educational community should be the integrated domain in the educational policies, that is the main important thing. It is the high time really. I also request all the educational administrators and all the educational learners and all the learners and the practitioners to come forward and to see, ensure how this new education policy will be really translated into the action by preserving the benefits, by preserving the self-respect, by preserving the economic benefits of the teaching community. That is a great thing. Thank you very much, Jagdish. Thank you very much, Jagdish. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jagdish Vik, sir. So now we will move towards our next session, and it's a time for our keynote speaker's address. And our today's keynote speaker is Professor Renu Nanda. Professor Renu Nanda ma'am is a professor and dean, Faculty of Education, University of Jammu. She is having research experience of 25 years on issues to educational technology, primary education, higher education, gender, non-formal educations, and many more. She had also completed and submitted 4 minor research projects of NI, EPA, UGC, SRC, Jammu and Kashmir, and 6 major projects of ICSSR, BSNG, NCERT, IUCTE. She also have published 36 research papers, 12 books, and reviewed 3 books. Professor Nanda is also appointed as an expert member in the Board of Studies in Education and Educational Administration and Physical Education in the Maharaja Saryuraj University of Bhuj, Gujarat. With all these words, I would like to welcome Professor Renu Nanda ma'am for keynote speaker's address.
Thank you so much. I hope I'm audible.
Yes,
You are clearly audible, ma'am.
All right. Sabhi ko mera namaskar. Well, I come from the beautiful city of temples, that is Jammu. I would like to convey my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to the Indian Institute of Business Management, Patna, and Shikshak Kalyan Foundation, all the faculty members, scholars, researchers, colleagues, and also would like to convey my special thanks to Professor Vibhakar Mansotra for having introduced me to such wonderful galaxy of intellectuals whom I hadn't known earlier. It was indeed a pleasure to listen to Professor Nayak. It appears that Professor Nayak has done more, I would say, understanding and has probably tried to experiment quite a lot with the NEP. That is why he is very keen to continue with the webinars in this time of pandemic. Sir, my best wishes to you for your endeavors in the times to come, and I'm sure you'll be able to do that. और आपने इससे भी अच्छा काम ये किया कि मुझसे पहले प्रोफेसर त्रिपाठी को सुनने का मुझे मौका दिया, जो कि वाइस चांसलर हैं, और प्रोफेसर संजय कुमार जी को, जिन्होंने मेरा बहुत सा काम जो है वो आसान कर दिया. और अगर मैं सही कह रही हूँ तो मिस्टर विक, जो मैंने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले सुना, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था कि वो दिल से बोल रहे हैं. और मैं मिस्टर विक को ये आश्वासन दिलाना चाहती हूँ कि यू कैन कॉन्टैक्ट मी एनी टाइम. मैं भी वही करती हूँ मिस्टर विक जो आप करते हैं, ग्रास रूट लेवल में ट्राइबल, डिसएडवांटेज्ड, बॉर्डर बच्चों के साथ. प्रोफेसर विभाकर मनसोत्रा जानते हैं, दूर दराज काम करती हूँ ऐसे बच्चों और ऐसे शिक्षकों के साथ जिनके लिए शायद जो हम ये बातें करते हैं इतने अच्छे अच्छे प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे वो नामुमकिन जैसी लगती हैं. Today I'll be talking to you about higher education in National Policy on Education 2020, a way forward. And I would like to start by a quote, which is a very famous quote by Mark Van Doren. Mark Van Doren कहते हैं, and I quote, "The art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery," unquote. Now, when we look at this art that we have to discover, we have to help our students to discover and be in a position to come out with their creative and innovative tempers. That is possible only and only through NEP 2020. Prior to that, there was probably no platform. There was no way by which we could have given that much of freedom to our students, to our learners across the country. I've used the terminology the way forward. Why way forward? Way forward because this is the only way to unleash the innovative and creative temper in every learner, and that too in a very congenial environment. इसके साथ ही मैं बात रखना चाहूंगी जो रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर कहते थे, और बहुत ही अच्छा लगता है ऐसी बातों को सुन के, and I quote, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, unquote. Is this possible? Can this become a reality? Can Professor Nayak, Professor Tripathi, Professor Sanjay Kumar, Mr. Wig, and all of us who are associated with this webinar work towards that direction? I think we already are. The only thing is that we have to keep on marching, igniting the souls, and doing our best in whichever capacities, whichever ways we feel that we can do. Now, what is actually happening, that the present education system that we have, like I said, that I would like to primarily talk about higher education, लेकिन higher education का जब भी बात होती है, उस संदर्भ में हम स्कूल एजुकेशन को अलग नहीं कर सकते. अभी मिस्टर विक कह रहे थे कि ये शायद हम लोग यूनिवर्सिटी से हैं और वो स्कूल से हैं, लेकिन मैं उनसे ये कहना चाहूंगी कि अगर उनका साथ मिल जाए, स्कूल वालों का साथ हायर एजुकेशन को मिल जाए, तो शायद हमारे जो समस्याएं हैं उनका समाधान आसान हो जाए और हम वो कर पाए जो हमसे एनईपी चाहती है. अब दिक्कत यह है कि जो हायर एजुकेशन है उसमें एक मुद्दत से हम देख रहे हैं कि ब्रेन ड्रेन. अभी हमने सुना कि आईआईटी में या बहुत सारे प्रेस्टिजियस इंस्टीट्यूशंस में एडमिशन लेना मुश्किल है, लेकिन मैं ये कहती हूँ मुश्किल तो है, लेकिन जब वो एडमिशन ले लेते हैं और पढ़ लेते हैं, फिर वो लोग क्या करते हैं? Do they stay back in their own country? Who is wanting to serve their own people in their own society? दूर जाने की बात नहीं है. I would like to talk to all of you about the some of the tribal, some of the backward areas that we have in our own Jammu and Kashmir. There is a typical place. Why I say typical is because it is highly militancy inflicted. It's a cold terrain. It has a typical topography. It is called District Doda. In that, there is a beautiful tehsil, and it is also called as mini Switzerland. Its name is Bhadrawa. Now, if you see in the higher education, in the judiciary, in the secretariat, and the civil services, majority of people that we have in our Jammu and Kashmir are from that particular area, Bhadrawa tehsil. But ladies and gentlemen, what is bothering me, what am I concerned about is none of them who has actually taken the seat to pursue higher education because of that backward area has gone back there to serve, to work for the people of that particular area. They don't do that. That's what I'm saying, brain drain. There are no linkages between the courses of study and the job opportunities. आप देख रहे हैं कि अगर किसी ने होटल मैनेजमेंट में पढ़ाई की है, आईटी में पढ़ाई की है, या कोई एमबीए किसी और चीज में की है, वो that student, that particular person is not working in that area, in that domain. मैंने तो यहाँ तक देखा है हमारे अपने संदर्भ में कि अक्सर जो कक्षा 8वीं 9वीं 7वीं है, उसमें जो हिंदी पढ़ा रहा है, जो सोशल स्टडीज पढ़ा रहा है, जो अरिथमेटिक पढ़ा रहा है, और भी बड़े सब्जेक्ट, वो जो इंग्लिश में पीजी किया है वो हिंदी पढ़ा रहा है, हिंदी का जो पीजी किया है वो सोशल स्टडीज पढ़ा रहा है. So there is a lot of misappropriation. All these things are happening. So I think we need to straighten out all these things. Then there is lack of employability, especially in the technical and the professional courses. कुछ दिन पहले मैं आंकड़े देख रही थी, हमारे जो खास करके प्रोफेशनल और टेक्निकल एजुकेशन के हैं, जो प्रोफेशनल टेक्निकल एक्सपर्ट्स हैं, they say that students graduating from the technical and the professional courses, I'm not talking of the ones who are right at top, but I'm talking of the ones which are below that, the average, and maybe below that. Now, these experts say that students graduating from these institutions aren't employable. So if they're not employable, then what are they doing in these institutions? And what actually is happening, because moving ahead with the courses in these institutions will neither get them a job and will also not allow them to work in their own areas, which they would have done if they hadn't opted for this kind of a professional and technical course. Then the vocational courses are not emphasized. The present context that we have, the studies that we are doing, we all understand that in the present context, the system of education that we have, it does not give hands-on to the students, at least in the schools, and even after that in the higher education. It's everything to do with the academics, and this academics, the education, the instructions that are being imparted to the students, we are actually creating, I think, a huge army of educated, unemployed youth. On one hand, we say that India is supposed to be the richest in terms of the youth power, but we aren't in a position to tap their energies, to tap their resources at the right time. Apart from that, the contextualization of vocational courses and other aspects of curriculum like inclusive education and experiential learning hardly find any space that we actually want to place them in our course curriculum. There is inadequate mechanism for merit-based career management and progression of faculty and institutional leaders. There is again lesser emphasis on research at most of the universities and colleges, and lack of competitive peer-reviewed research funding across the disciplines. We also see suboptimal governance and leadership of the higher education institutions. There is an ineffective regulatory system, and then the large affiliating universities resulting in low standards of undergraduates, which I've already stated. Now, when we look at this backdrop, the challenges that we have to overcome these, and then the major identified problems which have been recognized by NEP 2020 are, NEP 2020 lays its stress on the institutional restructuring and consolidation, which they've talked about on page 34. NEP has talked about a holistic and a multidisciplinary education, page 36. It talks about optimal learning environments and support for students at page number 38. It talks about internationalization, page number 39. It talks about motivated, energized, and capable faculty, page 40. Equity and inclusion in higher education at page 41. Teacher education, page 42. Reimagining vocational education, page 43. Catalyzing quality academic research in all fields through a new National Research Foundation, page 45. Transforming the regulatory system of higher education, page 46. And effective governance and leadership for higher education institutions, page 49. Now, when we look at NEP, a closer look at NEP gives us an understanding that it tries to convey to us the Bharatiya-centric higher education. It says, India has a long tradition of holistic and multidisciplinary learning from universities such as Takshila and Nalanda to the extensive literatures of India, combining subjects across fields. Ancient Indian literary works such as Banabhatta's Kadambari describe the good education as knowledge of the 64 kalas or arts. And among these 64 arts were not only subjects such as singing and painting, but also scientific fields such as chemistry and mathematics, vocational fields such as carpentry and clothes making, professional fields such as medicine and engineering, as well as soft skills such as communication, discussion, and debate, which we in the present context see that they are not part of our education system. The very idea that all branches of creative human endeavor, including mathematics, science, vocational subjects, professional subjects, soft skills, should be considered arts, has distinctly Indian origins. This notion of a knowledge of many arts, or what in modern times is often called the liberal arts, that is a liberal notion of the arts, must be brought back to the Indian education, as it is exactly the kind of education that will be required for the 21st century. This is what we get to know from NEP 2020, page number 36. Now, the steps to be taken by the higher education institutions as specified in NEP 2020, and that we see in page 41. We actually, why am I trying to read and share with this August gathering is that the solutions to our problems are all there in NEP. It's just that we have to get up, make substantial, do some research, make substantial efforts, and then get going with our efforts. So we need to mitigate opportunity costs and fees for pursuing higher education, provide more financial assistance and scholarship to socioeconomically disadvantaged students, conduct research substantially, then outreach on higher education opportunities, admission process to be more inclusive, curriculum to be more inclusive, increase employability potential of higher education, develop more degree courses taught in Indian languages, and that too bilingually. Ensure all buildings and facilities are wheelchair accessible and disabled friendly. We see that this is happening for quite some time, but it isn't fully implied in all higher education institutions across the country. Develop bridge courses for students that come from disadvantaged educational backgrounds and provide socio-emotional and academic support and mentoring for all such students through sustainable counseling and mentoring programs. Ensure sensitization of faculty, counselors, and students on gender identity issue and its inclusion in all aspects of higher education institutions, including the curriculum. Strictly enforce all no discrimination and anti-harassment rules. Develop institutional development plans that contain specific plans for action on increasing participation from the socio-economic disadvantaged groups, including, but not limited to these only. Here, I would like to make one, observation. When NEP talks about development of the institutional development plans, I think by and large, the institutions of higher education have started making an effort to revamp, to redo their course curriculum and ensure that the major aspects of the NEP get translated in the curriculum and then also become part and parcel of the pedagogy, the transaction of the education system. That is similarly true of the school system. So we need to ensure that the sooner we do it, the better it is. So it's the institutions who have to take the lead. That's what I'm saying, that we have to get up and we have to take a lead. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, what comes to my mind is that don't you think that this NEP 2020 is yours, mine, and our policy? Why do we look at the government to be taking some initiatives, to be coming forward and doing something to implement, and then look for reforms or try to bring the reforms through the course of NEP? Why cannot we all take the action in our own domains? What does that mean? That if we are in a primary school or a secondary or a higher secondary, similarly a college, professional, technical, vocational institution or institution of higher education, immediately we need to take at least the deans, the administrative faculties that we have in our educational institutions. And when it comes to the school system, there we have the heads of the different departments, the principals and the other faculty members, and start devising the course curriculum to ensure that it gets, properly, I would say, takes into account the ingredients, the prescriptions which are there, the indoctrines which are there in NEP 2020. And then the best would be to contextualize the same. We don't have to literally follow. We have to see to what extent can we adapt it to our own situations and our own circumstances. NEP talks about the multidisciplinary approach. It says flexible curricular structures will enable creative combinations of disciplines for study and would offer multiple entry and exit points, thus removing currently prevalent rigid boundaries and creating new possibilities for lifelong learning. Graduate level, master's and doctoral education in large multidisciplinary universities, while providing rigorous research-based specialization, would also provide opportunities for multidisciplinary work, including in academia, government, and industry. For this, we need to remove the administrative barriers and form research clusters inter-university and intra-university both. Like I said, please own the policy. Say that it is my policy, it is our policy. Also, a well-defined structure of exit and entry points with suitable job opportunities to be prepared by higher education institutions and circulated amongst the recruitment agencies. It's very important for us to be, connecting the school education's exit with these recruiting agencies and also the higher education institutions. Connect here means to see as to what all can be possible, what all can be given, what all can be offered to those young boys and girls who have to maybe exit because of some or the other compulsion, maybe after completing 1 year, which they say is certificate, or 2 years, the diploma, the 3 years, or maybe they do the research and they want to come back 4 years undergraduate with research, and then they want to be employed somewhere and then they want to come back and do the research. But we have to see what are the possibilities, what are the ways and means by which we can actually translate this policy into a reality. The Academic Bank of Credit, when it comes to the NEP, it says that the undergraduate degree will be either of 3 or 4 years duration with multiple exit options within this period with appropriate certifications, like I've already said, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or 3+1 year. Now, what is very important, and I feel it's very close to my heart, is this, that we need to establish guidance and counseling cells in the higher education institutions in which awareness regarding different government schemes and policies, including the scholarships, can be, possible, can be disseminated. Now, this guidance and counseling cell is equally important in our schools. Normally, we see that the schools, have a board saying that the guidance counseling cell is there in the school. The physical existence is there. But to what extent is it operational in terms of providing the guidance right from the beginning to a student who is in class maybe 5, 6, and 7, continue to guide, continue to counsel till the student makes a choice to get into the subjects of his or her own preference after class 10. And if need be, what are the options? What is it that can be done? And then the same can be done in higher education as well. Along with this, the career and the placement cells should be developed for proper and timely placements for these students in the jobs to avoid job stress and enhance the job satisfaction. We also need to stress on the follow-ups. Mere creating a guidance counseling service with no follow-ups, with no feedback will lead us nowhere. We will not be discharging our duties properly when it comes to the implementation of NEP, specifically when we are looking at vocational education, skill-based education, providing jobs to almost everyone. Now, for this, we have to revamp our curriculum. Curriculum should be revamped and only trained teachers should be appointed for curriculum planning, construction, and development phase. Teachers should be given the responsibility of framing the curriculum, as only teachers understand the grassroots level realities and problems in the implementation of curriculum. Other stakeholders like parents, alumni, students pursuing the courses presently, members of the civil society should also be there in the curriculum formulation stage. Now, when we are looking at revamping of the curriculum, I think here it's very important when it is said that we try and understand the grassroots realities for the implementation of the curriculum. Usually what happens is that whenever we try to revamp or redo or reframe, reorganize the curriculum, generally the practice is that we try to see as to which university is running the best course or a good course in that particular area, in that particular faculty. So we try to take that on. But what is very important to be understood is that can that be possible with the resources that I have if I adopt the best of the best curriculum from a university which I feel, or which of course is rated to be one of the best. But that may not become a reality or a possibility in my region because I have my own limitations and constraints. I have to work within that. One thing which is very good about this national education policy, ladies and gentlemen, which I have appreciated and enjoying, participating in different aspects of the NEP is that for the first time, we've all heard the national curriculum framework. But now this policy talks about the SCF, state curriculum framework. Now, the state curriculum framework means that it has to be, like I was saying, contextualized, region specific. Like in my Jammu and Kashmir, we are already working on different themes, on different aspects of trying to bring in the changes with regard to the curriculum that we are going to bring in our school education system. And this is specifically for Mr. Vig. I'm sure he would have read all this, that there are 12 focus groups which are directly related to curriculum and pedagogy. Then there are 5 focus groups on cross-cutting themes, and then there are 8 focus groups related to the other important areas of MEP. Now, why am I saying that, talking about these, is that I am also part of this initiative, in my own region. And what I enjoy the most is that people that I'm trying to take in with regard to SCF, the state curriculum framework, largely are the people, members of the civil society, media persons, parents, school teachers, administrators, yes, of course, some faculty members from the higher education institutions, to establish that connect, to ensure that there is a liaison between the school and the higher education. Now, there is also a mention with regard to decentralization. The policy emphasizes that institutions will have the option to run the open distance learning, that the ODLs and online programs, provided they are accredited to do so, in order to enhance their offerings, improve access, increase the GER, and provide opportunities for lifelong learning. All ODL programs and their components leading to any diploma or degree will be of standard and quality equivalent to the highest quality programs run by the higher education institutions on their campuses. Now, this will definitely, give, as it is, I'm sure across the country, all those who are connected, we already have students, connecting through the Swayam platform, the Swayam Prabha platform. They are opting these courses. Some of these courses are not very regular in terms of the content delivery and the examination, but it will be streamlined as and when we move further with that. And I think the responsibility lies also on all of us, wherein we must take the lead in terms of designing and developing the courses of our own expertise that we can share with the Swayam and Swayam Prabha platforms. Provision for distance education courses is important so that students can generate their livelihood by earning while learning. The digital and the online learning should be emphasized. Teachers must go for the blended approach. Well, that is what we all are doing during the last almost 2 years of pandemic. Professor Nayak and others will agree with me that this is because of the blended approach that we have been able to survive largely in the education sector. Autonomy should be given to students as far as learning is concerned, that they should be given the responsibility of their own learning and its evaluation. For this, knowledge of metacognition should be given to the teachers and students both. It's important because Mr. Vick was also talking repeatedly about assessment. I totally agree with him, but we need to see as to what is it that we can actually, come out with in terms of something to offer to the policymakers and the planners. Now, this policy lays a lot of emphasis on fluencies. Now, what are these fluencies? Solution fluency, information fluency, collaboration fluency, creativity fluency, and media fluency. It also lays a stress on educational literacies, assessment literacy, curriculum literacy, pedagogic literacy, emotional literacy, and learning literacy. A great emphasis of this policy is given on transforming higher education and bringing our youth back to Indian roots and instill in them values which will bring holistic development, which includes not only physical, but social, emotional, psychological, and spiritual aspects also. For this, we need to go back to Sanskritization period, along with modernization and Sanskrit language, which needs to be emphasized at higher education level. Teachers should be trained in Sanskrit language and transcripts should be prepared in that language. Departments in languages, literature, music, philosophy, Indology, art, dance, theater, education, mathematics, and many more need to be, given a lot of importance. Credits to be given in all bachelor's degree programs for these subjects if they are done from such departments or maybe through the ODL. The aim of NEP is certainly the prosperity of all the students at all levels of education. There are provisions of flexibility at all levels. And also there is freedom with regard to the entry points or the exit points. Credit account system is there. Those who leave their education due to any reason, every credit earned will be saved and hence bringing education to the students, or we can say student-friendly policy. It has the quality of earning while learning so that they can, so that the students can earn their livelihood and thus bring prosperity to their lives. Actually, if you take a deeper look into the policy, we can say that together we can bring a great difference with qualitative improvement in higher education through NEP 2020. The only thing that we all need to understand, and maybe beyond understanding, is that we have to actually implement. Understanding phase is over. Policy came out amidst a pandemic. Pandemic is still on in full swing. But when it came out in the month of July in 2020, since then, till now, there have been enough of webinars, discussions, roundtables, symposia, and whatnot. I think that has made us understand. People like Professor Naik have done quite a lot with many more to ensure that it reaches the doorstep of every person, including the last teacher and the last child of our country. Now, what we need to do is, through the same portals, through the same domains, by making use of the same platforms, which is the web platform, the online platform, the blended mode, the hybrid mode, that we need to implement the policy as well and not wait for somebody to come and announce that this has to be implemented. Why are we waiting now? And we are waiting for what, for whose order? We don't have to do that. Our university has already taken a lead in Jammu and of course in Kashmir, wherein the academic bodies have been framed and they've been asked to revise the curriculum at the earliest so that we are in a position to implement the policy, because the implementation process cannot be in one go. It has to be gradually, we have to upscale it. So if we have to gradually upscale, if we have to implement it slowly and gradually, we have to see how do we move in a phased manner. What is it that we can do first? In fact, I think most of us will agree, ladies and gentlemen, that we already have quite a lot of this policy implemented in our educational system. The only thing is that we were not harping, we were not talking, we were not emphasizing those aspects which have been spelled out in NEP in a different way, in a different tone. They have come out very boldly. So now, after having recognized what is already there in our education system, whether it is a school or the higher education system, all that we need to do is that we have to move with the implementation process in a gradual and phased manner with something that has not been implemented so far, so that we go on making headways. With that, what is very important for us to understand is that there will be many roadblocks, there will be many hiccups, there will be problems, there will be difficulties. But I think these difficulties and problems can make us understand the situation in a better way and look for that light and wisdom through these difficulties. Because I think we all know that, there's a famous saying which says that andhkar mein andhere ki bhi apni roshni hoti hai. So even if it is dark, you still see the light. Let us try and see that light. There is nothing that is dark around us, but assuming that it is dark still, it is, our activity now that the onus is on us. We have to take the march, we have to take the lead. And at this point of time, I would definitely like to share a very famous quote of Swami Vivekananda, which is very close to all of our hearts. And I quote, "Arise, awake, and stop, not unless the goal is reached," unquote. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have to march on, we have to move further, and we have to see what is it that we all need to do so that this policy gets implemented. And before I close, and just about to close, I would like to quote one more very important quote, which goes absolutely with this policy and been said by Albert Einstein. And I quote him, "I never teach my pupils. I only provide the conditions in which they can learn, unquote. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, in my 25 years of teaching at the higher education level, and before that, I was in the school sector for almost 10 years. And I still do my reach out program for the school children. The best part is that this is what I have been experimenting. I provide the platform. I only create the conditions. Students learn on their own. And that is what gives me happiness. What is very important is, apart from happiness, apart from satisfaction, contentment, we have to see what is it that makes us feel that we have done our duty. We have done our substantial contribution to the task which has been given to us, of course, by the Almighty, and then by all the stakeholders that we have in the higher education system. I am sure that I was able to make some points. More than that, I would like to convey my gratitude, my thanks to Professor Naik and his entire team for having made me part of this wonderful webinar, wherein I got to learn so much from different perspectives, from different angles with regard to NEP and its implementation process throughout the length and breadth of the country. And also gives me understand, also makes me understand that it is probably, institutions like the Indian Institute of Business Management and the Shikshak Kalyan Foundation who are taking a lead in trying to implement NEP in a big way, and that too making the impact in the righteous order, in the righteous way. Thank you all so much for listening so patiently to me. I will look forward to your valuable suggestions and comments if there are any. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Ma'am Nanda, thank you very much. So nice of you, and you have deliberated so excellently, and really you have spoke like anything. So far as the higher education, the NEP is concerned. And we are very fortunate to have you as the keynote speaker on this occasion. And I really, when I approached Mansotra ji has referred your name. And he's a very good friend of mine, good friend of my beloved younger brother. And I have the opportunity to work with him when I had been the president of Computer Society of India. He was part of, and he had been worked with me at the National Executive Member, and we are very, and he suggested regarding you, and he's having very high opinion regarding you also. And today we have listened to you, that is amazing, and you spoke very well. And I think you have touched very briefly, you have touched almost all points that what should be done in the new education policy 2020. And so far the implementation part is that the concern, and how it can come to the real floor and translated into the action. Thank you very much, ma'am, and on the Indian Institute of Business Management, as the advisor of the group, as well as the National Vice President of the Kalyan Foundation, and on behalf of our founder convener Jagdish Biji, we extend our heartfelt thanks for your gracious presence and deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nanda ma'am. So now we will proceed further, and it's a time for invited speakers address. And our first invited speaker is Dr. Subhash Chandra Yadav, sir. Dr. Subhash Chandra Yadav is a professor and head Department of Computer Science and Technology, Central University, Jharkhand. He is having more than 23 years of experience in industry and academia. It is educational qualification in PhD, MPhil, MTech, MCA, MSc, and MBA in IT and HR. His area of interests are in cybersecurity, network security, computer database, cloud computing, soft computing, and many more. At present, he is also the chairman of Division 5, Education and Research, Computer Society of India, and former National President, ICT section of Indian Science Congress Association. Apart from that, he has also published 4 books, 5 book chapters, and 26 research papers. So with all these words, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Subhash Chandra Yadav, sir, for invited speakers address.
Namaskar, Pranam, Johar. Very, very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you, Rohit. Rohit ji, my screen is visible?
Yes, sir, your screen is completely visible, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you once again, Rohit. In fact, the backbone of this virtual event, management.
Thank you so much, sir.
Very good afternoon and Johar to all of you. It's my really proud privilege to be the part of this very, very prestigious one-day webinar organized by very reputed institutes of Middle India, Indian Institute of Business Management, Patna. I express my sincere gratitude to Chief Guest of this webinar, Professor Byomakesh Tripathy, Vice Chancellor Utkal University, Bhubaneshwar, Odisha. I also express my sincere thanks to the Chief Guest, or you can say the chair of the webinar, Professor A.K. Naik sir, our mentor, our guide, a very, very renowned name in the computer science. Sir has served more than 35 years in CSIE by holding various posts at national, international platforms. I found in my life, it's a very true academician and always has been deeply involved in, you can say, sort of prashar of the computer literacy in the country, particularly the state like Bihar and Jharkhand, where the literacy rate and even the computer literacy rate is the very bottom level. Sir has made its continuous effort, continuous involvement in knowledge dissemination in the society by organizing a number of webinars during this pandemic time. Thank you, sir, for your virtual presence.
Thank you very much, Subhash. It's your all love and affection, because you are just like my son and child, and that is why we are speaking so high of you. I'm just doing my duty, and as a teacher, what should I have to do? I'm doing. It is your gesture. Thank you very much, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you and for your achievement.
I always pray God, Lord Shiva, a healthy and healthy life to you, so that we can avail the your blessings for a long time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Professor Sanjay Kumar ji, today's guest of honor, Vice Chancellor, MIT University. Keynote speaker, Professor Renu Nandaji. So she was a very good academician indeed, professor in University of Jammu. And I am happy to know that she has been recommended by our CSI friend, Mansotra ji. If you are listening us, ma'am, please convey our regards and namaste to Mansotra ji, Vivakar Mansotra. We have a very long association with him in CSI.
Yes, I will do that, sir. I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Very nice to listen you from northern part of the country in this virtual platform. Basically, all this you can say to pura Maya
Subhash, just 1 minute intervention. And when we generally conduct the webinar, whether it's national or international, we always keep track on that, how this is the inclusive participation. So you see, the speakers are from north, east, west, and south, from all parts of the country that we are covering. And Renu, ma'am, I should have to mention that Subhash and Mansotra Sahib both were the executive committee member in the CSI team, as well as the Prashant Nair, who is the another invited speaker today, just like as my beloved son, and he is also the chief editor of our CSI journal, as well as the National Student Coordinator. All people, Mansotra Sahib, Subhash and Prashant, all were cohesive and worked under the umbrella of the Computer Society of India, and helped me a lot when I was the president of the society. Thank you. Thank you, Subhash. Please carry on.
Sir. Another invited speaker of the day, Professor Prashant Nair, a very young and dynamic academician indeed, working as a director in such a young age, IQAC in one of the premier institutes, very well known for his academic values, Amrita Vishwavidyalaya University. Coordinator, Professor Rohit, Convener, Ganeshi Prasadji, dear friends, delegates and participants, today's webinar is on the topic NEP 2020, changing dimension of Indian education. That is on a very, very relevant topic in today's scenario. You have enjoyed a lot. Where whole the Indian education scenario is waiting for a, you can say, sort of paradigm shift in the pedagogy. In entire pedagogy will be shifted to physical mode, to blended mode, and virtual mode. And India government is on serious concern on that and putting rigorous effort to get fully implemented at the root level of this education system, NEP. So dear friends, today I will cover whatever the technological aspects are related with this education policy, and sort of key, particularly if you have gone through the draft of NEP, chapter 23 and chapter 24 is fully dedicated towards the educational, technological involvement in implementation of this NEP. My topic will be changing role of IT rules and regulation in respect of higher education, particularly for NEP 2020. In fact, it was July 28 when the Union Cabinet of Indian government has implemented NEP. Agenda of my talk, as I already told, in that draft document, part 3rd, with caption other key areas and focus, chapter 23rd is a caption as technology use and integration. Total 13 points have been mentioned there. And if we talk about chapter 24, online and digital education, ensuring suitable use of technology, broadly 4 points are being mentioned there. My talk will be focused on how these documents reveals itself the involvement of technology. Dear friends, as you know, the Digital India campaign is helping to transform the entire nation into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. Right. Educational technology in that respect will play a very, very important and crucial role. How to improve, how to implement in educational process, and what are the outcomes will be there. Extensive use of technology in teaching and learning. Removing language barrier, as the Professor Nayak sir has already emphasizes the knowledge barrier, language barrier in the country. Increasing access for Divyang students. And educational planning and its proper management in near future. So what will be the technological interventions? What will be the thrust area? Dear friends, teaching and learning evaluation process will play an important role. While we will talk about the technology and its proper integration in NEP, how we are going to support teachers and sort of, you can say, the professionals in their own development, how they will able to deliver the content. Because you know, the entire world has shifted on this virtual mode. And another thrust area will be enhancing educational access. Education for all. Education for poor children, education for literate, for rural, for urban peoples. How it will be get accessed, and it needs to enhance that. And streamlining educational management and administration. Taking a class, teaching is a different story, but While we come to the administration, the examination, calculation, evaluation, moderation, it has to be taken care. And I have already talked about how to remove this language barrier, because the country, our country, India, having more than 2,000 regional languages, to make the masses literate, definitely this will be a biggest challenge. And I have already talked access to Divyang students. These are the trust areas. And how the technology will get involved. This disruptive technologies, particularly if we talk about deep learning, machine learning, it's a part of artificial intelligence. And we will talk about the 3D animations, 7D virtual realities, how they have emerged and how they will be inculcated. Extensive research is needed in these new technologies to avail the maximum benefit of these computer technologies. Means involving artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, smart board, handheld computing devices, adaptive computer testing, and other form of educational hardware and software, which are nowadays available in plenty. Many of you have already acquaintance with, have you practiced Cisco WebEx, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and many, many more. The people are, you can say, whole the world is using these platforms. Before scaling of interventions, the use and the integration of technology to improve multiple aspects of education should be rigorously and you can say more specifically, transparently evaluated in relevant way. So, dear friends, how the emerging technologies will get adopted? As we talk artificial intelligence, robotics, 3D simulation, and other upcomings. In this NEP document, there is a concept of National Education Technology Forum. How to embed all these emerging technologies along with the pedagogy, along with the education system. The concept of NETF, National Educational Technology Forum, to categorize these emerging technologies based on their potentials. And whatever the reports being generated by this NETF will be directly submitted to Ministry of Education. And this Ministry of Education recommend NRF to take up further research on the identified areas. What are those technological areas must be emphasized, or you can say mentioned in the document drafted by NETF, that will be identified to enhance the future research. National Research Foundation, based on that recommendation, National Research Foundation will be established by the government. Dear friends, let's explore the role of this NETF, National Education Technology Forum, because this is the game changer. This will be liable to inbuild the technological inputs, the technological involvements, advancement in our educational pedagogy. They will advise central and state government bodies, apex bodies, on use of technology in education. This primary job will be that. They will build intellectual and institutional capacities in articulate new directions for research and in further required innovation in that area. And what will be the overall development aspects? The aspects are teachers' professional development in Diksha platform, Diksha, Swayam will be the better integrated across the school and higher education. As you know, the Swayam platform is working. UGC, they have provided a website, the portals, all the course curriculum is available on the Swayam platform. And they have drafted a policy that any student sitting his village, sitting in his residence, he can take the degree certificate courses. And the credit transfers is as well there. Means right now it was 80% from the university, from the school, and rest of the 40% credit transfer he can take from the Swayam platform. He can opt the choice-based credit system. I can give the examination over there. So this will be the development aspect. It has been embedded in the NAP as well. Promote and expand Diksha as well as other educational technology initiatives. Rich variety will be there of educational software be accessible to Divyang students. Teaching and learning e-content, and that will be uploaded on Diksha platform and will be available for all the category of students free of cost. Suitable equipment for suitable integrate e-contents into teaching and learning practices. So, dear friends, in response to MHRD formal recognition of these new disruptive technologies, the National Research Foundation will initiate on or expand the research efforts in the technology. In the context of artificial intelligence, NRF may be considered a three-pronged approach. Now, NRF will be active and we will take care about these three dimensions: advancing core AI research, advancing international research efforts to address the global challenges, to meet our educational system compatible with worldwide educational systems. And third aspect is developing and deploying application-based research. UGC is providing more and more grant rather than core research area to the application-based area. Because the application of AI is not limited to the one computer, it is limited to each and every field of our aspects in medical, in education. It means using this artificial intelligence, it will get implemented not only in healthcare, agriculture, climate change, in many more areas will be beneficial due to that. And the very big question arises here, then what will be the role of higher education? A detailed guidelines has been given in chapter 23 regarding the higher education institutions, how they will play a pioneer role, a leading role. They will play an active role in conducting research at the institutions, diversions of institutional material courses, including online courses, and assessing their impact on a specific area. Higher education institutions will conduct targeted training for job readiness, and they will also address the skilling of the student, de-skilling and skilling, keeping in view the disruptive technology, because advantages are there, disadvantages are also associated with these technologies. These artificial intelligence, IoT, machine learning, deep learning, etc. etc. University will aim to offer PhD and master program in core areas such as machine learning as well as multidisciplinary fields. That will be combined in combination of artificial intelligence and professional areas like healthcare, agriculture, and law that I have already mentioned. And another beauty of that is there is single entry and multiple exit system will be there. Dear friends, schooling and continuing education will assist in raising the general population's awareness about the potentials and effect of disruptive technology to facilitate informed choice in their concerns related. The study of current affairs and ethics issues will be included as a discussion on disruptive technologies. Appropriate instructionals and discussion material will also be prepared for school and continuing education system. It is critical to raise awareness on the issue of privacy, law, standard, ethical issues associated with AI-based data handling and data protection, etc. Other disruptive technologies that are expected to change the way we live in the society and therefore change the way we educate students. Definitely, that is by direction, it's related. Include those relating to clean and renewable energy, water conservation, sustainable farming, environmental preservations, and other green initiatives. There will be also receive prioritized attention in the education. And it was a little bit about the chapter 23, this NFP draft document. And how to ensure suitability of this technology, new circumstances, and relatives requires new initiatives. The recent rise in epidemics and pandemics necessitates that we are ready with alternative modes of quality education. Whenever and wherever traditional and in presence mode of education are not possible. This NEP 2020 recognizes the importance of leveraging the advantages of technology while acknowledging the potential skill and its related danger as well. And it has clearly, carefully designed and appropriately scaled pilot studies to determine the benefits of digital online education. Furthermore, optimizing and expanding the existing digital platforms and ongoing ICT-based educational initiatives to meet the current and as well as the future challenges. Using technology for online and digital education adequately to address whatever the concerns are related with that, with equity, with justice to each and everyone. So dear friends, this online and digital education, whatever we are facing nowadays, we are using frequently those. What are the challenges associated with this? The NAP emphasizes those challenges as well. Means they will address the digital competencies of teachers to meet further need. This NAP document has also revealed about online assessment on a scale, on availability of open and public digital resource infrastructure, becoming screen-based education, limitations in delivering certain types of courses, subjects in online digital places. Indeed, if we talk about the practicals, as Professor Sanjay Kumar, Vice Chancellor, MIT University, they have told they have designed a sort of simulator, virtual labs for the practical. Indeed, theoretical courses can be smoothly conducted in online mode. But what about the scientific, what about the science-related subjects? Because the course curriculum is there, they incorporate practical work with that. And unless you're not going to do the practical inside the lab, you will not come to know what is its results are there. So these NFP documents, along with the use of IT, artificial intelligence and technology, they will try to limit those restrictions which are particularly in the classroom teaching, or you can say laboratory-based teaching. And further, one more thing is bridging digital divides in the country. So, dear friends, online and this digital education, what will be the way forward? Yes, suitable teachers training to prepare teachers as effective online educators. This will definitely will help. And availability of affordable computing devices to eliminate this digital divide, because India is a poor country, and according to, I'm not going to reveal the report because most of the people's students belongs to village area. They're deprived of this education because they didn't have the smartphone to carry on the education. So this NAP document emphasizes that on particular infrastructure, provide the infrastructure. Change in pedagogy for online and digital education. Obviously, the paradigm shift in the pedagogy. Optimize and expand existing digital platform and ICT-based initiatives. Online assessment in different approaches. Blended approach with online and experimental learning. Provide assistive tool for monitoring the progress of diverse group of learners and teachers as well. Leverage existing platforms to creating virtual labs. Invest on creation of open, interruptible, involvable public digital infrastructure. Educational programs to be made available 24/17 in different languages, so we can recover the language barrier. Provide two-way audio and video interfaces for holding online classes. These are the way forward is mentioned in the NAP document, particularly if we talk about the chapter 24. Given the emergence of these digital technologies and the emerging importance of leveraging technologies for teaching learning at all levels from school to the higher education level, what will be the key initiatives? I briefly summarize due to lack of time. Number one, pilot studies on the online education will be done. There are different apex body that are being identified by the government, that is get identified in the NEP documents, mainly IITs, NITs, NETF. That role of NETF I have already discussed. Pilot study will submit it to the higher body, digital infrastructure. This is the second key initiative by the government. Online teaching platform and tools to be provided to each and every citizen of the country in the form of Swayam, Diksha, and many more. Fourth key initiative is content creation, digital repository and tools. Even nowadays, government is providing, UGC is providing handsome money. If you are able to generate digital content, e-content, please upload on the UGC website, and UGC will provide you the handsome amount as honorarium. Addressing the digital devices, virtual labs, I've already talked about that. Training and incentive to the teachers, because this IT technology, ICT technology is a rapidly growing technology. It means to keep all our educators, all the teachers up to date in this regarding this education. And online assessment and examinations, another initiative. Blended model of learning, laying down standards. NETF and other appropriate bodies set up standards of content, technology, pedagogy for online digital teaching learning. And these standards will help to formulate guidelines for e-learning by state, boards, school complexes, and other higher education universities, central universities, state universities, and even private universities. And what is the implementation plan is given by the government? I will try to slow by the slide. The government is going to implement this NEP 2020. They will conduct the research on the disruptive technologies and current status of ICT implementation in the schools and teachers education institutions, and deployment of e-content strategies, training modules on content ICT, particularly pedagogy, as per the new pedagogy and curriculum structure recommended in NEP 2020. This is the first, you can say, column. Then continuous customization of architecture of digital education platforms at the national level, including portals, apps, labs, as per the rising educational need. Third dimension will be design, development, and roll out MOOCs for students and teachers with appropriate policy, its evaluation, certification, and even the credit transfer. And this way it will get implemented. Dissemination of digital content through multiple modes. And then finally, the collaboration and coordination with national and state level institutions for coverage of efforts, even collaboration and coordination with IT industry. And you can say sort of interface must be there in between educational institution and IT industry to provide whatever the latest development with there. So dear friends, the key aspects of policy dealing with technology, it's include primary education, professional and higher education, administration of the education, adaptation of artificial intelligence, and even keeping in the mind the Digital India campaign, which is already launched in the central government. Although the policy has done a stellar job in beginning technology in education in Indian context, this also raises certain concern issues. Means, what will be the internet penetration in the country? In particular, if we'll talk about the rural areas, some sort of solutions are also provided in that document. What will be the access to digital infrastructure, digital hardware, human element of education, how the humans related sentiments, human behaviors will get incorporated with embedded in that certain issues. So dear friends, number of issues are there. No doubt that has to be focused on. But while the policy is a novel and progressive document, indeed, no doubt, acknowledging the invaluable role of technology in facilitating learning and teaching, it is essential to develop a coherent plan of action for fostering technological proficiencies to add successful engagement with technology. So, dear friends, with these words, once again, I express my sincere thanks to the entire group of IIBM and the group of Rohit ji and Ganesh ji Prasad ji, under able guidance and the dynamic leadership of our mentor, Professor Naik. So thank you. Thanks to all for patience hearing. Over to you, Rohit.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Subhas. Explained very nicely the technology implication in the new education policy. The new education policy cannot be successfully implemented without the integrated application of the available technology, particularly the information and communication technology. Though there are other some biomechanics are there, other technologies are there which will be used, but the thing when we are talking of the virtual lab and virtual university, as well as when we are going to implement the education 4.0 in the integration of the new education policy, so the careful implementation of the technology is very much essential. And you highlighted on that thing, that is very much essential. Perhaps being and seeing the development of the technology, the new education policy has been formulated. That is the obvious thing. Thank you very much for your nice presentation.
Okay.
By the meantime, I acknowledge the gracious presence of some of the senior professors who have been present here, but I could not recognize all of them. But our appreciation for the gracious presence of Dr. Salini Tyagi, Dr. Hridesh Arya, Dr. Srinivas Charu, Dr. Hema Malini, Dr. Iman Alan, and Dr. Subhanshu. Subhanshu, is he hearing me? Subhanshu, and he's from Utkal University. Subhanshu, yes, but we acknowledge for your gracious presence. All are the senior personalities I know, and there are many more also.
Namaskar, sir.
Able to. Are Subhanshu, yes, very good. You are joining, that is very good. And our great appreciation for the able participation of these senior professors, as well as there might be many more, but I am not unable to recognize. If anybody are there, very senior outstanding academician, kindly interact with us. We will be also benefited from your interaction. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rohit.
Thank you so much, Subhash Chandra Yadav, sir, for your deliberately explained presentation, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So now we will again move further, and it's a time for our another invited speaker's address. And our today's second invited speaker is Dr. Prashant R. Nair, sir. So Dr. Prashant R. Nair, sir, is working as a chairman IQAC and associate professor of computer science and engineering of Amrita School of Engineering, Amrita Vishwavidyapitham, deemed to be University, Coimbatore, India. He has over 20 years of teaching, research, mentoring, training, consultancy, and academic administration experience. He taught in academic programs in the USA and Europe at University of California, San Diego, and Sofia University, Bulgaria, as an Erasmus Mundus Fellow. Has written 6 books, 2 edited books, 1 book chapter, and over 50 publications in reputed journals, books, and conferences. He has also mentored student teams which have won premier international and national competition like Smart India Hackathon, Rajasthan Hackathon, TCS Digital Twin Challenge, and represented India as a part of National Hackathon team for Singapore India Hackathon, and felicitated by Honorary Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi ji. He has also been ranked as a top innovation mentor in India by Atal Innovation Mission and coordinated AIM activities at Tamil Nadu as a regional mentor of change. He has been serving as a chairman, vice chairman, coordinator of Amrita Deemed University Internal Quality Assurance Cell IQAC since 2009. So with all these words, I would like to welcome Professor Prashant R. Nair, sir, for invited speaker's address.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Rohit. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, sir, you are completely audible, sir.
Yeah. A very good afternoon to all of you. At the outset, I extend my thanks and gratitude to my academic mentor. I'm very proud to be one of his academic sons, Professor A.K. Nayak, who has mentored people from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Shillong to Surat. All over pan-India, he has mentored so many of us through the medium of CSI and ISTE and so many things. So I'm like the tail-ender batsman. So I am not going to take too much of time, but I thought
Thank you very much, Prashant. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I, as a tail-ender batsman, I'm not going to take too much of time. I thought I will just stress upon 2 aspects that probably my speakers did not stress so much. Primarily the special economic education zone of the national education policy, and also the National Research Foundation. Of course, some of the speakers did talk about that, but I thought I'll give a different spin to them. So let me just share my slides. Rohit ji, slide shared hai kya? Can you just check?
It is completely visible, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I thought I'll go directly to the slides on the special economic, special education zone, and then maybe I can do a small summarizing of the various aspects of the thing. So as Professor Subhash Chandra Yadav had told about the role of technology, One thing that we are going to see in the national education policy is that a lot of traction is going to come in special education, assistive technologies, and so on. There is a special chapter on this. The sixth chapter is equitable and inclusive education for everybody, learning for all. And there is a specific focus on all kind of socially, economically, and disadvantaged sections of society. And the national education policy talks about 4 different socially disadvantaged groups. One is, of course, gender, women, females, and transgender individuals, social economic identities, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, minorities, OBCs, geographical identities, rural students who are not able to have good access to internet, good access to bandwidth, and so on, from small districts, from aspirational districts, small towns, and people with disabilities, learning disabilities. And that is where there is a huge opportunity for assistive technologies. Now, there is also another disadvantaged section, the migrant communities, migrant communities all over India. There's so many migrant communities. In fact, you come down to South, you will see, if you go to any kitchen in South India, many of the big kitchens of temples and all, you'll see a lot of migrant laborers who have come from Odisha, who have come from Bihar, from UP, Uttarakhand. You see that, in fact, I am based in Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu, which is the border with Kerala, but we have such a huge Kali Puja celebration. You'll be very surprised to note that is because there is a very good community of very, very good workers who are so sincere, who have come from different parts of Odisha. And I'm so happy to join in that Kali Puja celebration. It happens around February. So there is these are all the different socially and economically disadvantaged section. And we have to address them with separate strategies for each category. Now, for girls, generally for girls, giving cycles, building separate toilets for them in schools and colleges, these have really helped in bridging that divide. And at the same time, for other disadvantaged sections, mentoring, open schooling, giving better infrastructure, technology innovations, digital education have been very supportive for many of the other socially disadvantaged communities. In fact, tablets, you have tablets, especially in rural areas and all, tablets have been known to be extremely effective. Small towns, aspirational districts, and so on. Now, for the people with disabilities, the national education policy is talking of a lot of strategies to improve that kind of these kind of folks. So one very interesting intervention in the national education policy is making a special education zone. I do not think anywhere in the world they have thought of such a massive scheme, a massive intervention, so that all kind of disadvantaged sections of society will be benefited. And once India takes the lead, it will be no surprise that all the other developing countries in the world will be able to follow this intervention from India. So the idea is to have a center of excellence, a special education zone, where a center of excellence where all kind of educationally disadvantaged sections of society will have the access to the infrastructure. They will be given funding, they will be given equal opportunities, hostels, technology, equipment, and a lot of incentives so that they are completely transformed. And this will also include the gender inclusion fund. There will be a lot of scholarships, funding for these kind of socially disadvantaged sections. The government is going to invest in a very big way in Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas, Kendriya Vidyalayas, especially in the aspirational districts. Out of 700 odd districts in India, around 200 of them are categorized as aspirational or developing districts. And these special education zones are likely to come more in these aspirational districts. They will have, as I told you, it's a center of excellence with all kind of strategies, policies, facilities, hostels, free boarding, free education, quality education, and all kind of special education zone will also include the center of excellence, where you are building on these kind of assistive technologies, where all people with disabilities will have special focus. There will be a training program, teacher training program, to make dedicated and qualified teachers to handle these children with special needs and so on. So this is a very wonderful intervention of the national education policy. Perhaps none of the speakers address this in great detail. Another very important thing is technology is going to be a leveler. As Professor Nayak was telling, technology is something that is going to bridge the divide that is there between the haves and have-nots. And that requires an ecosystem. The ecosystem will have all kind of players, assistive technology, technology-based tools. Professor Yadav talked about the digital education, virtual labs, virtual technologies. But at the same time, we need to customize these technologies for those folks with the special education. See, for example, Indian Sign Language. There are many sign languages. Foreign countries have different sign languages, echolocation. But there is going to be a dedicated national mission to develop modules on Indian Sign Language, teach basic subjects in these sign language, special training programs, certifications for these trainers who are going to handle these special education needs children. Alternate schools will be encouraged. They will be in such a way that they may not exactly follow the 10+2 or the 4+3+3+2 model, but at the same time, these children who come through these alternate type of schools will have all access to higher education. They can go for a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. There will be a parallel kind of structure. A new assessment center is proposed, a PARAK, which will formulate the guidelines for all these kind of assessments, especially for all these socially disadvantaged sections. Libraries, funding, equipment, pedagogy labs, all these things will be there. And these children are also going to get in these special education zones full access to co-curricular and holistic development. There will be clubs, NCC units, outreach activities, scholarships, so that these children also get access as any other. So this is going to be a revolutionary change that is going to come through the national education policy. No country has thought of this kind of special education zone. And in the spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat, $5 trillion economy, this will do a massive change, and India will be on top of the world with this great initiative. Another thing I want to stress upon. See, we have talked about an NRF, National Research Foundation, but you may be thinking, how is it going to be for me and you? How is it going to affect you and me? Now, each of us know, all the universities and colleges, when they want to promote you, they look towards your research funding. What are your outcomes in research? How many high impact papers you have? How many funded projects you have applied? How many funded projects you have secured? Now, I know that each one of us is struggling. I think everybody in the country, even an IIT professor, is struggling to get funds. There are so many agencies. There is a DRDO has their own format and own requirements for funding. The Indian Space Research Organization has their own requirements and guidelines for funding. DST has got different. State government has science and technology cells have different. So it's a total jungle out there, and each faculty is trying to get those resources, try to compete for those resources. Now, the NRF is going to be a game changer, because all these disparate agencies, whether it is government agencies, research agencies, state the science and technology cells, state startup cells, state industry associations, CII, FICCI, all of them will be brought under one umbrella, in the sense that all their funding, including industry funding, will be completely routed through this NRF, this National Research Foundation. So NRF will become like a via media between the educational institutions. And already the speakers before me talked about the different types of educational institutions. There are going to be multidisciplinary research universities, teaching universities, degree granting colleges, and each of them will have their own capacity. A multidisciplinary research university will obviously be more focused on research. A teaching university will not be so much focused on research, but maybe 5 to 10% of their faculty also want to do research. A degree granting autonomous college, maybe a few faculty, if there are 100 faculty, maybe 5 or 10 of them may be interested in research. And that via media will be provided by this National Research Foundation. And the goal is that, you know, the research funding has to increase with respect to the GDP. Currently, it is less than 1%. Indian research and innovation investment, this is not only the educational institutions, national importance institutions like IIT, IISc, IIM, also industry, the percentage is just 0.69% of the GDP. Now, if you compare to 2.8% of USA, 4.3% in Israel, 4.2% in Korea, South Korea, we are nowhere. And this NRF will be the accelerator so that at least 1 to 2% of Indian GDP will be on research and innovation. And the NRF will be the via media, the bridge that is there, which will connect the industry, the national institutions, the national institutions, industry associations like FICCI, CII, the research labs, BST, CSIR, DRDO, BARC, all of them with the educational institutions. And the idea is also to increase the number of research papers from India. It's very interesting to note that India's share in research papers is around 4.35%. In engineering, because of the proliferation of engineering colleges, it's a little higher, 6.75, pharmacy 5.3, management less than 4. But if you see the highly cited papers in India, it is very, very less than 1% of the total, because there are obviously, because of the requirement of research targets are there, need for papers, so faculty need to show number of papers, and in that process, unfortunately, many of the papers are not in very good journals. The number of highest cited or highly cited papers is probably less than 1% all over the world. And that also comes from a few handful of institutions. So that has to change. The NRF will fund research in many colleges. You know, hum bolte hain na, Aam Aadmi institutions will get access to the research facility, will get funding from industry to conduct innovation and research. And as a result, we are going to see that the funding will increase. India's number of highly cited publications will increase. Common colleges will get access to funding and so on. So now it is very difficult. You know, I'm sure anybody in a private university will agree with me. It is such a struggle. You apply for 10 projects, you may get 1 or 2. It is so difficult, and it's so crowded space also. Everybody wants to get funded projects. So this is what will happen through the NRF, and already NRF will competitively fund research in all disciplines. And the goal for India is to become a complete knowledge society where there is a focus on Indian value system also. So that is the underlying vision of the national education policy. You know, there is an interesting AI plus X. AI bolte hai to artificial intelligence. X can be anything. X can be mechanical engineering. X can be Indian history. X can be law. So the idea is how to integrate AI plus X, that X can be anything and everything, any discipline under the sun. It can be English, it can be Hindi, English literature, it can be law. But the focus is on building a knowledge society where artificial intelligence will be there, will be used for each and every discipline, each and every field, Indian culture, traditions, heritage, languages, and so on. So these are the two aspects that I wanted to stress, which perhaps for the speakers before me, the learned speakers before me did not stress. So since I am the tail-ender batsman, I thought I will quickly summarize with the vision of the, this is my last, actually it's my first slide, but it became the last slide. The aim for India of the NEP is that we have an education system that is next to none by 2040. And the focus is that we are aligned to all the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We are measuring our educational outcomes. We are changing our methodology, curriculum, pedagogy, evaluation in such a way that it is towards outcomes, and also we focus on Indian culture, values, tradition, and heritage. We have to be proud to be an Indian. We get that from our education system, and we will definitely see a reverse brain drain. People just people just want to complete and leave the country. Now we are definitely seeing a change where a lot of people from abroad want to come to India because they find that India is an exciting place to be. And in that spirit, let us all work together towards that vision of an Atmanirbhar Bharat, a $5 trillion economy. Thank you very much. Wish all the best to all the participants of this seminar. As agreed, I make it as short as possible. Thank you very much. Over to you, Rohit.
Thank you, Prashant. Thank you very much. Excellent. You spoke excellently and a very thought-provoking and very effective lecture that you have delivered. You have pointed out 2 points which were really given to be stressed upon. One is the special education zone as like a special economic zone, because the thing is that this is very much essential to bridge the disparity of the development as well as non-development. And what happened in the special economic zone, because to attract the industries and a lot of the holidays and packages are there in the special economic zone. Similarly, in new education policy, the thrust has been given the special education zone. Special zone will be identified, as I have told in my introductory lecture. The India is a country having 732 districts, and every district there is requirement of setting up the multidisciplinary institutions, and that can be possible. That is only when the special economy education zone will be created and the stress will be given on that. And another point what you have stressed upon this is that the NIRF, National Institute of Research Foundation, which is very instrumental and a key area that is to be taken upon in the new education policy. And because a country cannot be developed unless its research and innovation parameters are very strong. And that is why this lot of importance has been given in the new education policy to promote the research and innovation activities more, because we will have to move towards a Atmanirbhar Bharat. We cannot see the dream of the Atmanirbhar Bharat unless we make sound of the research and innovation, for which the ample share is to be invested. As Prashant has told, definitely the substantial portion of our gross GDP should be also diverted for the research and innovation projects. And as Jagdish has told, only 2% of the CSR the contribution is not sufficient enough, that the corporate social responsibility for which the industrial peoples are giving, that is 2% of the CSR. Rather, this share should be also increased and to be diverted for the research and innovation projects. Apart from that, in new education policy, definitely the importance is being given that how there will be the public party, the 6% of the public investment should be brought in imparting the new education, implementing the new education policy, because these are the very much essential things that is required. Unless, because when we talk of the research and foundation under that area, we are dreaming of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are dreaming of the startup Bharat, we are dreaming of the stand-up Bharat and all these things, and digital India, all these things for which the substantial fund is required also to translate these dreams into the action. But otherwise, because think that unless you having the tools and the techniques, that how we can convert ideas into the finished product, that means the innovation cannot be completed. That is very much required. That means the idea once generated in our mind, because the people of this country is having a lot of idea, as Prashant has told, because the thing is that it is the proper environment should be provided, how those ideas can be converted into or can be brought up to the level of the finished product. That is the main, that is the process of that is the innovation, and that is the thing, the ideas should be converted into the finished product, and which will be catering the requirement of the not only the country, rather we can be able and capable to give the product to the outside and export the product to the outside. So that, and another point Prashant has also highlighted, to take the India as the Vishwaguru, and if you have the India as the Vishwaguru, these kinds of approaches, what we have thought, that means that should be also incorporated. Thank you very much, Prasad, for your very thoughtful speech. Though it was very short, but it was quite effective and productive, definitely, and also eye-catching. There is no doubt. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Prashant, sir. And now we have moved towards our last but not the least session, that is the vote of thanks.
Ek minute, Rohit. We are having so many people are there. If anybody want to just give their feedback, that will be very good. And I think one of most senior most personality there, Harpreet Kapoorji, ma'am, Harpreet Kapoorji, she is also there. And you want to have some feedback on this webinar?
Yes, sir. If you allow.
Yes.
If you allow, I'd like to.
Why not?
Yeah. You know, I've been working in education for the last 30 years, and I have taught right from the primary. You know, now I'm coaching for IELTS. So it is right through primary, through secondary, to higher secondary, and then after, you know, post college also, and for international English language system. Communications is my field. And I am making projects for, you know, the government organizations, and I needed to understand the national education policy in terms of implementation, and also in terms of where can I contribute, and the kind of thorough window that I have got today by attending this webinar. You know, within 2.5 hours, I've got, you know, my answers. So a salute to you, Professor Nayak. It's been a wonderful, you know, webinar to attend. Extremely meaningful, very productive for me. That is what I can say. 515 for that.
Thank you very
I
much.
hope that, pardon me, sir.
Thank you very much. You remain connected with us. We
Yes,
are always regularly conducting these kinds of things. On 28th of January, again, we are having one very important thing. That is the research and innovation in management education. There is another theme.
Right. So I'd like to connect with you, and you know, I mean, I've done some, you know, a project for Kendriya Vidyalaya, and I was in talks with Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan also. I'm going to revive that connection, and I spoke to Dr. Khaware also, you know, on the.
So definitely, our convener Jagdish is there. Okay.
Yeah. So I'd like to. I mean, there are a lot many things. I'd speak to you afterwards, and I'll follow up with a call to you, sir. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to.
Rohit.
Yes, sir.
Rohit, in every webinar, you kindly display my email ID and the telephone number, mobile number, so that our connectivity will be enhanced and our group will be enhanced. Sure, my mobile number and my email ID.
Sure, sir.
Oh, that's what is required, sir. Yeah.
Thank you,
just you give it on the screen.
Sure, sir.
My mobile ID and my email ID and mobile number. Any more feedback? Many dignity respected teachers and educators are there. Any other feedback? Anybody wants to give some feedback or some questions? Because our experts are also there. My email ID is very simple, ma'am. It is aknayak, aknayak, Nayak @IIBM. IIBM, my institute, Indian Institute of Business Management, aknayak @IIBM.in. And mobile number is 828106 93239. It is mobile as well as WhatsApp. Any other feedback, please? Yes, please.
Yes, Dr. Imam A. Alam is also wants to speak, sir. Something.
Imam ji, please.
Hello.
Ma'am. Yes.
Clear, please.
Yeah. Yes,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Iman, please.
Thank you. Just I wanted to say thank you. Highly appreciated day. Really great speakers. and also great organization. Congratulations for this success. And also, I am lucky because this year, however, I am Egyptian, but this year I visited India 2 times. They are my third visit to India. I'm very lucky because I was honored also by award carrying the name of your great president. I received them via Shiksha Kailan Foundation. I'm very happy to be with you. I'm very happy and grateful to new education policy in India. I think we need to copy it all over the world. Really, you are doing great work because I'm saying every time I'm saying India are in love with education. So you are doing everything from the heart. So congratulations. I'm sure that you will success. I'm sure that you will do different thing. Have a great future. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful to all speakers and also to all organizers. Really, you are doing great work. Thank you very much again. Greetings from Egypt. This is Dr. Iman Alem from Faculty of Science, Al-Azhar University from Cairo of Egypt. Thank you very much again.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Alam. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Jagdish ji perhaps want to say something, please.
हाँ जी, आवाज आ रही है सर मेरी?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
हाँ, थैंक यू रोहित जी। सर, जैसा कि आपने ये अपॉर्चुनिटी क्रिएट करी है और शिक्षक कल्याण फाउंडेशन के साथ ये कोलैबोरेटिव प्रोग्राम हो रहा है, मैं देख रहा हूँ काफी लोग हैं, तो मैं उन लोगों को अपील करना चाहूंगा, निवेदन करना चाहूंगा सर कि वे शिक्षक कल्याण फाउंडेशन के द्वारा समय समय पर जो है हम लोग साल में 2 बार तो एक्सीलेंस अवार्ड ऑफ एजुकेशन और टीचर एक्सीलेंस अवार्ड ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं सर। तो मैं उन लोगों से भी निवेदन करना चाहूंगा और रोहित जी से कि वो मेरा नंबर 8587086330 और शिक्षक कल्याण फाउंडेशन 4@gmail.com और हमारे नायक साहब तो नेशनल वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हैं ही, कुछ लोग यहाँ शिक्षक कल्याण फाउंडेशन के भी हैं, डॉक्टर आलम, हरप्रीत कौर जी और भी कई लोग मैं देख रहा हूँ यहाँ पर। तो इस प्रकार से हम
सभी को चल जाएगा।
हाँ, इन फ्यूचर सर ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग आए और जो यहाँ लोगों ने आज पार्टिसिपेशन किया सर, उन लोगों को भी प्रिविलेज दिया जाए कि आने वाले समय में जहाँ हम प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया को भी ये अप्रोच कर रहे हैं कि डिफरेंट गवर्नर हाउसेज में हमारे प्रोग्राम करे जाएं, नई शिक्षा नीति को प्रमोट करने के लिए, पंडित दीनदयाल जी की आइडियोलॉजी को प्रमोट करने के लिए किस प्रकार से भारत आत्मनिर्भर बने, तो उन सभी प्रोग्रामों में सर आप सब लोगों की सहभागिता और इन ये लोगों का आना, ये हम सब लोगों को जो है क्या नाम है मजबूती देगा सर। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं निवेदन करता हूँ कि they all are invited in our upcoming programs to participate as well as for participant as well as for honoring them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and we'll do in that direction definitely.
Yeah, Dr. Subhanshu Patnaik sir is also wants to say something.
Subhanshu ji.
Sir, namaskar. Sir, namaskar everyone. Sir, that was the webinar was excellent, sir. I had never heard this type of a webinar in my life, sir. And I just adding to, I have not raised to all the resource person excellent, sir. Only to raise adding one question, one thing is that it should be continued, after 1 month, so that we will have any current issue, any problem related not only education and also the current topic, so that it will be more beneficial to our students. Definitely.
Subhanshu, let me tell you, and in Bhubaneshwar we had also the talk, na? Bhubaneshwar, we have already the talk that not only every month, every week we are having the webinar. That is why it is more than 700 now, 700 plus. I'm telling on 22nd of this month, we are having one webinar on the platform of the Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication, and that is on the theme the emerging trends in information technology and telecommunication, and which will be inaugurated by Honorable Dr. K.K. Agrawal, the chairman of the National Board of Accreditation, and the guest of honor will be Dr. P.C. Mishra, the Vice Chancellor of the UP Technological University, Abdul Kalam UP Technology University, and myself will be the keynote speaker on that occasion. Apart, there are dignitaries of there are many speakers are there. And on 28th January, again we are having one webinar in the banner of the Indian Institute of Business Management, and that will be on the theme that research and innovation in management education, in which the chief guest will be Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Das Mahapatra of Odisha Open University, and the guest of honor will be another Vice Chancellor. And that like this, we are having the programs in every month. Now, since you are in our group and you will be always communicated.
Okay,
and
thank you, sir.
Staying
Thank
connected.
You.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank
and
you.
all
Thank
are
you.
the emerging issues, and all are the new issues, and all are the issues where there should be thoughtful speech, and the deliberations and the insights will be there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. So now we will move towards our last but not the least session, that is the vote of thanks. And for that, I would like to welcome Professor Ganesh Pandey, sir, who is a Deputy Director of Indian Institute of Business Management, Patna. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rohit. Honorable President of the webinar, Dr. A.K. Naik, Advisor IIBM Group, former President and Fellow CSI and National Vice President, Shikshak Kalyan Foundation. Honorable Professor Sanjay Kumar, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Kolkata. Honorable Mr. Jagdish Vig, Convener, Shikshak Kalyan Foundation, NCR, Ghaziabad. Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Byomakesh Tripathy ji, Vice Chancellor, Utkal University of Culture, Bhubaneshwar, Odisha. Honorable Keynote Speaker, Professor Renu Nanda, Professor and Dean, PG Department of Education, University of Jammu. Invited Speaker, Professor S.C. Jadhav, Professor and Head Department of Computer Science, Central University of Jharkhand. Invited Speaker, Professor Prashant R. Nair, Chairman, IQAC, Amrita Vishwavidyalaya, Vidyapitham University, Tamil Nadu. Respected dignitaries, CSI, other guests, faculty and staff member of IIBM, dear participant and invitees of one-day national webinar. It is my privilege to express my sincere gratitude and present my vote of thanks for the Honorable President of the function, my Guru, my mentor, Professor A.K. Naik, who has been instrumental for conducting near about 700 number of webinars under the banner of CSI and IIBM at different locations of the country. Sir, on behalf of the IIBM Management Committee and a student community, we express our sincere thanks for the delivering the presidential address on this occasion. In the same time, I also express my sincere thanks to Professor Sanjay Kumar, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Kolkata, for his continuous guidance, support, and encouragement for organizing the today webinar. Thank you very much, sir, for joining the event. I am also Byomakesh Tripathy, Vice Chancellor, Utkal University, Bhubaneshwar, Odisha, for their gracious presence and addressing with their valuable words in this webinar. On behalf of the IIBM Management Committee and the student community, we express our sincere thanks for addressing with their valuable words in this webinar. On behalf of IIBM Management Committee, I extend a really hearty vote of thanks to our guest of honor, Professor Jagdish Vig, Convener, Shikshak Kalyan Foundation, NCR, Ghaziabad, who spared time for his busiest schedule to grace the occasion. My express of vote of thanks from the core of my heart to keynote speaker, Professor Renu Nanda, Professor and Dean, PG Department of Education, University of Jammu. Thank you, ma'am, for inspiring and encouraging us with your word on this special day. I would like to express our sincere thanks to invited speaker Professor S.C. Yadav and Prashant R. Nair for joining the event and excellent addressing with their valuable words in this webinar. I also express my sincere thanks to coordinator Professor Rohit Kumar for hosting the events. Last but not least, my sincere thanks goes to all participants of the webinar who made the event successful. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. So now we have towards the end of our today's session. So with all your permissions, I pray God for a huge success of this one-day national webinar on the topic National Education Policy 2020, a changing dimensions to new education. So I want to say thanks to our respected guests and dignitaries.
सुभाष है कि चला गया? सुभाष सुभाष है कि चला?
है सुभाष सर भी।
अच्छा तो कंप्लीट करो हम लोग चैटिंग करेंगे। हाँ कंप्लीट करो तुम्हारा हो गया।
थैंक यू सर। सो शैल वी एंड द सेशन सर?
हाँ सुभाष कहाँ?
सर
प्रशांत
जी।
यस सर।
I'm here मैं इधर ही हूँ सर।
प्रशांत जी भी
वेरी गुड।
हाँ नमस्कार सुभाष जी नमस्कार।
नमस्ते सर, हमने मॉर्निंग में आपको नमस्ते कर दिया था।
प्रशांत तुम घर इनफॉर्मल नाउ वेबिनार इज ओपन तो प्रशांत तुम घर पे है क्या बोला ऑफिस पे?
मैं तो गांव में हूँ, केरल में हूँ, गांव में हूँ। तो ये अभी 5 दिन का हॉलिडे है संक्रांति के लिए। और
तो केरला में है अभी गांव
सर। एंजॉय कर रहे हैं प्रशांत जी, पोंगल एंजॉय कर रहे हैं।
पोंगल है 5 दिन हॉलिडे। वेरी गुड
5 दिन हॉलिडे है। तो उधर अभी तमिलनाडु में भी केस ज्यादा हो रहे हैं तो गवर्नमेंट ने डिक्लेयर किया 5 दिन के लिए हॉलिडे।
ओहो
ज्यादा हो रहे हैं
केसेस तो हर जगह ज्यादा। पटना में भी है। पटना में आज कितना केस गणेश? कितना केस आज पटना में? गणेश डिस्कनेक्टेड है क्या?
सर वोट ऑफ थैंक्स हो गया तो डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाएंगे।
वो तो निकल गए, वोट ऑफ थैंक्स के बाद निकल गए वो।
सब लोग घर में, हम भी घर से बोल रहा हूँ तो सुभाष भी घर पे है, सब घर पे।
हाँ सब लोग घर में है।
सर टाइम ही ऐसा आ गया है कि वर्चुअल मोड पे कनेक्टेड रहिए, घर पे ही रहिए।
हाँ दैट इज ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम।
हाँ आपके मार्गदर्शन में नॉलेज डिसेमिनेशन करते रहे सोसाइटी को अलग अलग टॉपिक पे।
हाँ
यस